Joining us, stage 7 of LANGKAWI, 123.8 kilometres today from Muar to Seremban. The riders roll out for a 6-kilometre neutralised section. 8 stages in total. This year's race totalling 1,278.1 kilometres. 3 intermediate sprints along the routes after we hit kilometre 0. One at Umbai, one at Cheng and one at Lingi. This is the weather forecast. It's 27 degrees Celsius, bit of cloud, mostly sunny, 8 km/h, southeasterly wind. Should switch to a southerly wind, and the riders, yeah, should be a quick day. 10, 6 and 4 bonus seconds on the line. Oh, Simon Carr of EF Education Easy Post still leading the race overall from teammate Alexander Cepeda by 49 seconds. Pablo Castrillo of Equipo Confirma is in third. Jon Bout Company, Vadim Pronsky, Paul Double, Adley Van Engelen, Joachim Berger, Jonagir and Harold Lopez are your top 10 overall. Arvid de Klein is in the orange points jersey. He leads that competition with 45 points to Enrico Zarangello's 36 and Glebserista's 34. Simon Pello is our King of the Mountains. He is crowned that champion. No King of the Mountains points today. And in terms of that, there's none tomorrow either. So he had sewn that up on our stage to the Genting Highlands. So he is our King of the Mountains. Vadim Pronsky is our white jersey, best Asian rider. He has quite a commanding lead in that with 2 minutes and 7 over Sambaya and Funsat at 4:49. You see Arvid de Klein is in his points jersey today in that orange KBS jersey. Wasn't wearing it yesterday, not sure why, but kind of threw us coming into the finish. Only momentarily, of course, but it was another stage win for the Dutchman, for the Tudor Pro Cycling team. He took the stage ahead of Sasha Vimas of Human Powered Health, Glebserista third, with 4 Astalan, Enrico Zanoncello, Daniel Lababo, Gijs van Hoeken, Alexander Konishev, Matt Bostock, Carlos Canal Blanco and Attila Viviani was our top 10 yesterday. Expect it to be a bunch sprint again today. It is a flat stage for the riders as we head out of historic Muar, one of Malaysia's most popular tourist destinations is Muar. It's absolutely beautiful, very traditional sort of pre-war architecture for Muar, so it's definitely worth a visit. It's a very, very pretty town. We head up to Seremban too, which is kind of like a new satellite town of Seremban, so we will head up there. Fairly technical running towards the finish, but it shouldn't be anything the sprinters can't handle. While we say it should be a day for the sprinters, expect a flurry of attacks and breakaways to try and get clear and try and outwit the sprinters. You never know. On a really flat stage, we often say it's going to be a sprint day, but you never know. That's what we love about bike racing and we love about the sport. So 95.2 to go will be our sprint in Umbai, 76 to go in Cheng and 32.8 to go in Lingi. Marty McDonald and John Mould with you to take you through stage 7. This is our penultimate stage. We finish in Kuala Lumpur tomorrow, and what a race it has been so far. The rollout, beautiful blue skies. It's a good day for a bike race.
Yep. Sorry. The weather has come and delivered on the 7th stage. 8-day stage race though. It's been a good, entertaining 6 days so far. Of course, that big Genting Highlands, we were waiting for that stage. But these sprints have been hotly contested. 4 different winners in the first 4 stages, and then de Klein becoming the first rider to take 2 stage victories, and that was a perfectly timed lead out yesterday. I'm sure they'll be looking to do the same again. But we have got a bit of more of a technical finish. 5 corners within that last 4 kilometres. Not tight ones, around about 90-degree or sweeping corners, but it should actually line that peloton out, even if it isn't too tight. So it'll be interesting. Positioning will be key.
So riders, you can usually tell riders that are up towards the front on the rollout if they're feeling good. And so we've got Thanakan Chayasombat from the Thailand Continental team. I've got to say, White Cornago, one of the most beautiful bikes I think I've seen out there, is the bike of the Thailand Continental team rider Thanakan Chayasombat. I mean, that's up there, isn't it? That's the sort of bike you put on your wall, really.
Yeah.
White Cornago. Loving, being someone that wears white shoes, even though I spend most of my life in the mud. But yes, anything white is always good.
You have
it's
to have
faster as well, isn't it?
White shoes is faster. White shoes and white socks. Yeah, shouldn't be anything else. I didn't mind black shoes actually in the winter.
No, see, I could never do black
Could
shoes.
you not?
No, black shoes just don't work for me.
You have to do black shoes and white socks though.
Yeah.
It has to be white socks.
But it's when you do white shoes and black socks, see, that's style-wise, that just doesn't, it's not cutting it for me. Definitely.
No, I'm not a fan of black socks.
I don't know what it is about black shoes, because it always made me think of, like just normal shoes.
Yeah.
And I think, I've always worn white shoes. It doesn't matter. Being a cyclocross rider, I live off road, and I always have. But it doesn't matter. It's like white shoes. It's just it's where it should be.
I had yellow Mavic shoes when they first came out.
Yeah, see, I could do that.
When I was younger, they were my favourite. Around 2007 probably. Around then, when I was a junior.
Yeah, they're quite fun. And sock lengths are getting longer and longer, and it's always a contentious subject, isn't it? Because we're getting some really. I mean, the UCI are usually out with their tape measure, aren't they? And,
they are at some points, and they decide not to when they seem to be wearing really high socks. It's almost like they need to go to the time trials and do the sock length, not the road races, because.
I mean, cycling tan is always a thing that you end up with your cycling tan. But if you wear like monstrously long socks, then you're ending up with a tan from now, because everyone's shorts now come down towards their knees because it's more aero, and then you end up with a. I mean, nothing's ever. I mean, that's we've got some good long socks here. We've got some good aero length socks going on, and they're really aero now. The socks. There's a lot of technology going into socks.
Yeah.
It's like the wind tunnel testing for socks.
I know. At least they seem to the style to be everyone wears high socks now, even when they've got shorts on, wandering around casually. So. Yeah, not too embarrassing for everyone racing. They can just get their socks on, cover up their tan lines.
As long as there's no socks and sandals going on, I mean that takes things to another different level, isn't it?
It's changed now. Everyone's socks and Birkenstocks or socks.
That's it, socks and yeah.
And they think it's cool. I don't know. That's the under 23s though. They got their own style.
Yeah, my daughter does socks and stocks.
Yeah, it's completely fine as well.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Socks and sandals was always a contentious issue.
It was.
It always has been.
Yeah. I put my sliders on and take my socks off.
Yeah, sliders there, mate. You're going proper Aussie on that one.
Yeah.
Get your sliders on.
No,
sorry to any of the Aussies that are watching today. Yeah. My dreadful Australian attempt at Aussie.
There's sliders. The other one that they always have. Like flip-flops, don't they?
Yeah, thongs. Yeah. See, we're trying to be as international as possible and try and remember a name that everyone calls everything here. Welcome to the commentary box this morning, and socks and sandals. We'd love to know your thoughts on socks and sandals.
Yeah, let us know if you agree with us.
Answers on a postcard. And it'd be a bit leisure kit in cycling as well now. I mean, anyone watching that sees the guys and out here in their kit, you kind of kit them out completely, don't you? I mean, as a bike rider and within cycling, I mean, most of the time you don't have to buy an awful lot of clothes most of the time, because most of the year you live in your team leisure kit as well.
Makes packing a hell of a lot easier. When I finished racing, I was when I did go away, or you go away on a trip where you don't have to bring your casual kit with you, it's a bit harder to figure out where and what you need to pack. It's good. I always enjoy just putting your team kit, maybe one casual t-shirt and a pair of jeans, but then the rest is just complete team kit. And it's an identity. You're representing the sponsors, even if you're not in your cycling kit. It's the same when as soon as you leave the house for the riders, they're representing their sponsors, their team, through the airport, through everything else.
Vadim Pronsky, clearly not a fan of having his helmet strapped too tight on his chin.
No, it seemed a bit low then, actually.
Yeah. He's relying on the dial system on his helmet. The two buddies at the back, Thomas Barter and Harif Saleh, they have a proper catch up in the morning. Those two, we've seen it every day. The categorized and Terengganu riders. They have a good old chat in the morning, which is what you need on the catch up, on the rollouts. Got Bolton Equities Black Spoke just up on the right, and there's a little bit more news out, I think, yesterday from Bolton Equities Black Spoke. I think they might be able to continue as a continental team next year. I think Greg Henderson and the team were putting that out. So it's such a shame for them in terms of their program. So you never know. Hopefully they can find something that might help up that budget for next year. It's getting tight though.
Yeah, it is. It changes a bit of what they can do. Obviously they were at pro continental level this year, so with that comes minimum wage and the UCI regulations for the riders. At a continental level, the changes in that, they could keep up a similar race program though, but it depends what the riders really have. See, Thomas Barter sits at the back, continue his chat, and then he just moves up when he needs to. He'll be up the front within seconds.
Yeah, look at that, all the way up the outside. And so as I said, we'd love to just get in there and just have a little Harif Thomas Barter chat and just see what's going on between the two. Just because it's normally a little fist bump, have a good day, and off he goes up towards the front. We saw it the other day, and they were having their proper morning catch up. I'd love it if they've sat there with a couple of coffees, you know, on the rollout, couple of big lattes, maybe a croissant, and have a catch up, have a chat, a little cheers, and off they go. And that's the beauty of sport. That's what we always say. That's what we love about sport, what we love about our sport. And you're out on the road, you're exploring the world, you make friends from all over the world, and then you catch up at another race, and you're like, hey, how are you? You know, it's great. We're heading up towards kilometre 0, so 6 kilometre neutralised section. And then we will be off and racing. There we go. We are off and racing here on stage 7 of La Tour de LANGKAWI. And it looks like Thomas Barter is the first man to attack from our helicopter shot. Looks like his style. And away we go. So good attack.
There's a good attack. And it's teams that we'd expect to be riding for a bunch sprint. Astana, Casa Royale, EF Education Easy Post looking after general classification for Simon Carr. But now it's Human Powered Health making a move.
They've come close in this race, Human Powered Health. It's Sasha Vimas and Paul Doubles up there in general classification in 6th spot. But as a team, they'd want to come away from this with a victory, potentially.
Yeah, they definitely do. Unfortunately, another team, we talked about Bolton Equities Black Spoke struggling, losing Bolton Equities, but this team is in its final year. The men's team will fold or cease to exist by the end of this season, so it could be the last race of the season for a lot of these guys in the jerseys. I'm sure they want to finish it on a high.
Yeah, human-powered health. The women's team continuing. The men's team isn't. So these are flurry of attacks that we get at the start. Just 4 riders going clear, but it's still quite close to the peloton. Corotec Sella Italia just trying to drag things clear. We'll see if it gets to this point, and we've so far this week, especially very early on in the week, it took about an hour for a break to be established. We could get a 3-hour stage today if they go fast enough.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much on. Yeah, you can see now. You can see the Corotec rider had a good look and then sat on, decided to sit on the back of the group. That's always a sign to say it isn't going to be successful. Perfect time to attack. Sometimes you see the riders attacking from the front of that peloton. Always the hardest thing to do. You kind of want to wait for a little hesitation and then for it to sit up again.
And you can see how fast it is. When the tempo's like this, accelerating off that really high tempo is easier said than done, isn't it?
And that was 2 7-11 Philippines riders. One was in the little move and one was chasing him. Now it goes across the road now on the left hand side or the right hand side of your screen. That was perfect timing. Get through the gap before the road closed off and was blocked off.
Yeah, nice work there by our second 7-11 Philippines rider. Just swung across the front of the peloton and took the wind out of the sails. But it has allowed 2 next riders to go. It's that man again. It's like it literally is the most animated rider of the race.
Yeah.
Jambalan Sambayer, as off he goes. The Mongolian national champion from Terengganu, deciding to have another workout at the front, and joined at the head of the race by Valentin Mide from Rajai Online Insurance. So he had Polynchronis Solzakis with him yesterday, did Jambalan Sambayer.
Just the way he attacks, and he's committed as soon as he gets that bit of a gap. Entertaining, bringing this race alive, to be honest. Sambayer. There's a big difference. You can see the difference in speed from those earlier attacks. As soon as he hits the front. Always a bit of a sign they are chasing in that peloton. Might be a bit easier towards the back, a bit more relaxed. Everyone's in near enough single file. The road isn't completely blocked, so the racing still is on at the front of the peloton.
Can he get clear? That's the question, Jambalan Sambayer. The Terengganu Polygon team, national champion of Mongolia. Valentin Mide is even just struggling to stay with him at the moment. It looks like.
Looks good again.
Really driving this one on is Sambayer. I think if we've got a most combative rider of the race, he's definitely got to be it, I think.
Yeah, every single day, and even yesterday, long day in the breakaway, he still ended up finishing 14th on the stage. He's always there, always fighting, been up there in the top 10 on some of the stages. Climbed really well to Genting Highlands.
I think if anyone who's been watching Tour de Langkawi this week and just maybe not potentially and understandably, because you wouldn't have got to see him race much at all, if ever. And it is great when you see a rider that is this animated, this exciting, this interesting to watch. And then it's Olympic year next year. Don't know if he's qualified. We'll have a look. But World Championships is a sort of rider that you'll then follow Pro World Championships. He'll follow through major championships, and I think he will have won himself an awful lot of fans this week, the national champion of Mongolia.
He definitely would have. Competed in the World Championships in Glasgow for Mongolia, individual time trial and the road race.
And they're a team that have been around for many years at Terengganu. 2011, off the top of my head, was the year that they first started. So just a swinging left now, and it's Jambalan Sambayer of Terengganu and Valentin Amide of the Rujai Online Insurance Team, Frenchman on the Thailand team. And I think both of these teams have been so entertaining this week. I mean, we saw Mide do that strange attack when he tried to get across to take some bonus seconds. But I think both teams, between Zorzakis, Van Enden within the race this week, they've been up there all the time on the attack.
Yeah. For the riders from the continental teams, they've really put on a big show, both these teams. Been great to see. Been able to fight on all fronts as well, not just trying to get in breakaways and show themselves on television. Up there, as you said, in the general classification, trying to compete in the bunch sprints as well. It's exactly what you want to see.
Mide driving on here for our two leaders, 18 seconds. So can they get clear? He's the peloton as well will when that number comes through, you do at this stage of a race start to kind of almost get wise to someone who's on the attack every day, and you can see the long tail, the long string at the back of the peloton. Harif Saleh, teammate of Jambalan Sambayer, not quite had the form, I think, in the sprints that we've seen from Harif Saleh in previous years. Luke Mudgeway there, wearing 46 for Bolton Equities Black Spoke in the blue and yellow colours. He's had a great race. He's really been an important part of that Bolton Equities Black Spoke team. Paul Double, you can see there, wearing 52. Got his ice pack down the back of his jersey. Just catching up with the rider that we were just mentioning as well, Adne van Engelen. Wearing 123. Both these riders were up there on the Genting Highlands. So you can see all the fans coming out along the side, as they have this week whenever the race has gone through. Opportunity for all the school kids to get out, watch the race go by. And sometimes that's all it takes, isn't it? And we've got a rider in the breakaway from a country like Mongolia that has found his way, into the peloton, into the pro peloton, and that's the beauty of when you get to see all the different world tours. We're sometimes very Eurocentric, aren't we? We focus on the world tour and those races in Europe, but there are, as we've always said this, and it's taken a while after COVID for the Asia Tour to really start to get re-established, because it really hit the pandemic, and post-pandemic really hit the races and the sport in this part of the world, and it's now sort of seeing those riders post-pandemic that are coming back in, that are really making a name for themselves in the Asia Tour.
Yeah, it's taken a bit of time. I think this is the first year really where they've had a solid, uninterrupted program of races as well. So It's good to see the race is back on, racing hard as well. Everyone's really desperate, happy to be back racing around the world. It is always great to come over, either commentate or work on the races with the teams. Interesting to see who is riding on the front. I don't think they're happy with the breakaway of 2 just yet. I think there's more of a flurry of counter attacks. That gap still holding at around 18 seconds. There's a lot of teams who will want to be in the break today. Just try and make it hard for those sprinters teams. But these two, tell now, Midday with 125 Rougai online insurance. See that every once in a while he puts his head down. These two are making a big effort to try and stay away, taking a lot out of them. We do have a bit of a tailwind all day, between 10 and 12 kilometres an hour. Should be a southerly wind pushing them all the way to the finish. So of course that does give a chance to the breakaway. If it is a tailwind, more chance of it staying away. So I think that's the reason the peloton is still desperate to have some representation in that break. A few teams wanted to put a man up there. They don't have to ride, they don't need to control things. But a good breakaway today could spoil the sprinters' fun. Moment, it's just these two doing a great job of trying to spoil it though.
So I was just having a quick search while we're looking. So Jamble Jam's Sambayer. So he took a bronze medal in the time trial at the Asian Road Cycling Championships. So he made the podium there in that one. So I think that probably qualifies him for the Olympic Games. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to double check that. But he did make the podium in the Asian Road Cycling Championships. So I mean, if that's the case, follow him. There you go. I whenever I'm commentating at a major champ like a Worlds or something like that, we're always very much, you know, adopting nations and really get behind everybody. So if you've enjoyed watching Jamble Jams this week, and why wouldn't you? He's a really entertaining rider, the man from Mongolia. So I'm going to double, triple check that just in case, or maybe we'll see if anyone from the team will check in with them and just check. But that'd be pretty cool, I think. And he's one of those riders, and that's the beauty of the Olympic Games, isn't it? That you just never know in the Olympic Games in trying to get away and into moves, and someone that's aggressive and attacking. And I think he's really, I think, shown for me this week, having been coming here for a while and seeing Terengganu, and I think being sort of up there as sort of held up there as well. Double check their ranking in the but they are sort of Asia's number one of Asia's number one pro teams as well. And I think he's shown again the development of that team and the development of the riders from on the Asia Tour. So it's great to see. 32 seconds. It's Euskaltel Euskadi that are chasing. And Jamble Jam Sayembaya from Terengganu, probably hunting for some more bonus seconds. I think there's 9 along the route today that the man here from Terengganu could potentially challenge for. And it is a great national champs jersey. We love a proper national champs jersey. And Terengganu always do their national champs jerseys proud to the Terengganu team. No hiding a national champs jersey amongst your jersey. Got to make it a big celebration that the rider is the best from their nation. Euskaltel Euskadi are chasing hard here in the orange. They will be recognising as well that number, that name. So Jambo Jams Sambaye sits 16th overall at 3 minutes and 22 seconds. So you've got Mikel Ituria that sits at 2:51 in 14th. You got Chomin Juaristi Arieta who sits 11th at 2:14. So he sits at the moment in 16th overall. He was in the top 10 last year, was Sayan Bayer. Just slightly off the pace this year to not be in the top 10, but as we've said, so aggressive, so entertaining is Sayan Bayer. 109 kilometres to go. It's ticking off quite quickly already, our distance today. Could be a quick one.
Could be. Euskaltel Euskadi aren't happy with the breakaway of just 2 riders up the road. Away for their half sprinter, the mountain biker Carlos Canal Blanco. He'll want a harder race. They need to make it as difficult as possible for all those sprinters. That gives riders like Canal Blanco a bit more of a chance at the finish. So in a way, if they keep the pace high, try and put those big sprinters, those powerhouses like Decline and Saritsa under a bit of pressure. That then gives them more hope when you come down to the finish. Bit of a slight drag as well to the finish, to around 200 metres to go. From about 500 metres to 200 metres. The road does drag up ever so slightly. They will come with a lot of speed. But even so, that might just slow that sprint down. Of course, that gives the sprinters who are a little bit lighter, they don't have as much power. That gives them a bit more advantage. A bit of a power to weight battle and a bit of a drag. So the interesting finish. And with that technical nature as well, they need to really think about positioning. A good lead out early on, make sure they're in the right place. It's going to be one of the most technical finishes we've had at this year's Tour de Langkawi.
They're really going for it, Euskaltel Euskadi, aren't they? I'm interested, slightly surprised perhaps. They don't need to ride like this, really. They've missed the break, sure, but you could let this break go. It's not. We saw yesterday, Jambo Jam Sambaye was in the breakaway yesterday. They controlled it nicely. Simon Carr and EF Education Easy Post. They'll be quite happy at the moment. Euskaltel Euskadi drilling it on the front.
The only thing I can think of, Sambaye took 16th place on general classification off Canal Blanco yesterday on those intermediate sprints. Maybe Euskaltel Euskadi want their 16th place back.
Points mean prizes, and every place counts. There is pride in places in the team. And it is, gotta say though, it's good to have the orange Euskaltel Euskadi jerseys back in the peloton as well. It's such an iconic jersey. I mean, we look at sponsors like Caja Rural, and then you look at teams like Euskaltel Euskadi, and they were such an iconic team. And then they kind of go, countries' economies and regions' economies and global economies and things, affect the ability for sponsorship. But it is an important jersey, and for that team to be back on the world stage, I think is important for the sport.
Yeah, for a long time they were that orange was so iconic. Even you think of all these good riders that came through that Euskaltel in different times. Samuel Sanchez, Beijing Olympic gold medalist. And every time you see a Euskaltel jersey, when I was younger, you always thought of Sammy Sanchez. And it's a brilliant team, really. It gives so much opportunity to so many riders. Of course, a bit of a development team in some ways. Riders do move on, step up to the World Tour. But what a race program they have, and it's great to see the sponsors back where they can.
Seconds, so they are edging clear here, despite Euskadi's best efforts. Will they at some point decide to just take the pressure off and just let them go here? You can just see the way this road just kind of rocks and rolls, just rising and falling ahead of the riders. Past our next school. Yeah, everyone getting behind it, it's great. And then we'll see the Mongolian national champion and the Frenchman clear here at the head of the race on stage 7 of Le Tour de Langkawi, our penultimate day today. We are on, and it is a Frenchman and a Mongolian that are clear. 33-year-old Frenchman who finds his way into the Rujai online insurance team. Some wins in Thailand in his career as Valentin Mide. He's been a pro for a few years. And a lot of domestic racing in Thailand. Had a stage win in Tour of Phuket this season. Rujai Online Insurance, as I said, they've been a very strong team this week. They've got Adney van Engelen, the Dutchman, in the top 10 in the general classification, which is a good result for them to get a rider up there here in Tour de Langkawi. The Terengganu Polygon, you see the Polygon bikes of Jean-Valjean Saint-Boyer. Making some nice bikes, a Polygon. Had some good focus on equipment this week. And the different bike brands that you see around the teams. 16 seconds now from Euskadi, who are not happy that Jean-Valjean Saint-Boyer has gone up the road again. As John said, he took 16th place off Carlos Canal Blanco yesterday. I think they'd be better off saving their legs for later, I think.
It's always a bit of a gamble, but if they bring it back, they need to make sure they then go with that counter-attack. It's going to all reset. Likely eventually to make contact again and bring them all back together, but it's taking a big chase to do so. They're only using 2 riders, but they need to make sure they're in that next move. They don't want to miss the counter-attack when it comes back together, that's for sure.
That will inevitably go. We should start a little book on whether Cyan Bike gets in the next move as well, because
he's done it yesterday. He did it yesterday. Came back straight back up the road.
You definitely wouldn't bet against him. Back to the back of the peloton. Luke Mudgway just catching up there with is that Dylan Sunderland alongside him. And then Harif Saleh is our man at the back. Just sitting at the back of the bunch here. It's not the Malaysian sprinter is not quite had the firepower, I think, to get up there in these sprints this week, which is a shame. But that is the form cycles that you have to manage, especially at this point in the year. 16 seconds. There will be a method to this one. We have an intermediate sprint to come with 95.2 kilometres to go. So Arus Katelus Kadi just chasing down for that intermediate sprint point. Back up to our leaders. Bayer just has a glance back over his shoulder just to check behind, just to see where that peloton behind are. At this point you can see nice country roads that the riders are riding on. Got some big old roads, really wide roads that we've had on the run-ins to some of the finishes. They come later on. Little flick of the elbow by Valentin Mide. I think Simon Bayer's planning now that they're going to get caught.
I think that look round for him kind of confirmed how close that peloton was. Maybe not, maybe he just didn't see the elbow flick. He's rolled through now. It's looking very likely they'll come back together. It's taken a while to get there. Big chase from Yuskadi. Green Project Bardiani there, also towards the front. They're a team, been there or thereabouts at this race, haven't picked up a stage victory yet. One day in the leader's jersey for Zanoncello. But they haven't got it right yet, they haven't picked up a victory.
They're close in the point standings as well, but Arvid decline yesterday really extended his lead in that classification. 45 points to 36 now. They could do with a stage win, and you can't say it's not for the one of trying, because they were impressive yesterday in terms of controlling the brakes and bringing things back. So as a team, you know, they're a really solid unit. But I think perhaps it shows the complexity of trying to lead out, because you've been there. I mean, trying to organise a lead out, and the way you have to manage the lead out and manage the peloton. I mean, it's from us sitting here, it's easier for us to say, God, you know, Bardiani, you know, Green Project, have not won a stage, but the chaos and mayhem that you have to manage on a lead out, it's something that, when you're in that rough and tumble of the sprint, is completely something else. And keeping a team together, you know, how do you as a lead out and an organizer, you know, as a team, get that and deliver that sprinter?
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice, and when a team are riding together consistently, it makes a massive difference. You understand where how and where the rider's going to move. The biggest thing for the rider to be on the front, they always have to be thinking further back of what's happening behind them. Don't just think about themselves. Their positioning, the positioning of where they ride makes such a difference further down. So you want to always try and move wider, create more space behind you where you can, accelerate into corners so then you don't have to accelerate out of them. You accelerate in, make space for yourself, and then you come out and regroup, so your sprinter isn't making a big acceleration to get back onto the wheel. See now, Mide, he goes solo, which is a surprise actually. Sambayer, first time we haven't seen him on the attack with. He's allowed the Rougeite online insurance rider to make a solo move.
Yeah, interesting one.
But as I was saying, just that lead out, trying to position people, it's almost like trying to drive a truck or a car with a trailer on. You always have to think about what's happening behind you, not in front of you. You have to concentrate what's in front of you, but you also just need to be aware of everything, or and almost think of protecting your sprinter as best as possible and saving your energy. It's a good skill. You just need a good leader to lead them, call the shots, a good road captain who can be in that lead out as well. And also just staying calm, not panicking when something goes wrong, or when you lose, you have to close a gap at some point. All about being calm when you need to. And you see Rougai Online Insurance coming up to have a conversation now with Euskaltel Euskadi. There's only one guy up the road, you can leave him. And the Euskaltel Euskadi completely ignoring him. Nope, we want him back.
They are drilling it on the front, aren't they? They're just Euskaltel Euskadi clearly have got some orders today from the DS behind. Valentin Mide here, the French rider for Rougai Online Insurance. There's an intermediate sprint to come with 95.2 kilometres to go. Maybe Euskaltel Euskadi want those bonus seconds on the intermediate sprint. But Valentin Mide pressing on alone now. And the 33-year-old Frenchman. We'll have a look back. There's the peloton behind. Euskaltel Euskadi. You'd love to know what their orders were. We never get, of course, we're never going to hear that. We're always just speculating what they're thinking, what their motivation is. And that's his job done for the day. Swings off. We're nearly into the 1K to go for our intermediate sprint. And it looks like Euskaltel Euskadi are going for that, those points, those seconds on the intermediate sprint. So the gap between Jambal Sain Bayer and Carlos Canal Blanco is now 4 seconds. So clearly smarting from losing that place yesterday. And Euskaltel Euskadi are doing a proper lead out here for those intermediate sprint points. And it looks like our orange jersey. Oh, rider going down there, and it's the Euskaltel Euskadi rider, unfortunately, that's gone down in the centre. Arvid de Klein and Enrico Zanoncello sprinting it out there for the intermediate sprint point. Oh, I don't know who went down there, but he went down quite heavily.
It did look possibly like Carlos Canal Blanco.
We've had very few crashes that we've seen this week, especially like that, and he went down at full pelt, so I hope he's okay. There was a sprint out between our points leader, Arvid de Klein, and Enrico Zanoncello. Euskaltel Euskadi do a huge job. Here goes Jam Sambayer again. As we said, he would be up there. If you put 50 quid on Sambayer going again, you'll be quids in after this one. I hope that the Euskaltel rider is okay after that tumble. Big job by Euskaltel Euskadi there. That's what they were going for. They wanted to try and put Canal Blanco back into the 16th spot on GC, and they went all in on that one and risked it all. But unfortunately, their rider going down there, and it was the two riders that are up there in the sprints classification that went for the intermediate sprint point. Looked like Enrico Zanoncello and Arvid de Klein sprinting it out. So did our orange jersey take it, or did the Green Project Bardiani rider take it? We'll get confirmation for you as soon as we can. If you are just joining us today, welcome. It's the penultimate day of what has been a thrilling edition of Le Tour de Langkawi. We've got our next rider going in here from the Henjiang team from China. Martin McDonald and John Mould with you for today's race action, and we've been through Mumbai. That was where we were for our intermediate sprint. Our next one is at 76k to go at Cheng, and then we have one at Lingi with 32.8 kilometres to go. Simon Carr leads the race overall by 49 seconds from his teammates. Alexander Cepeda with Pablo Castrillo third at 58 seconds. If our Henjiang rider tries to go clear, I think we've got a replay, unfortunately, of our crash, and they just came together there as they're sprinting it out. Ooh, it looked like a touch of wheels, John.
Yeah, one of those things, just got caught out. Technical little run-in, actually. See the police marking off where they needed to go. Everyone did a good job avoiding him. And then just a bit of fight for position with Zanoncello, and he clipped the wheel and went down. Did see him get up quite quickly, getting the bike checked over. Hopefully just skin and burns, nothing else too serious. Those almost worse when you crash for an intermediate sprint. It's more annoying than anything else. It's not just for the finish line where you're more committed, you're ready for everything. Yeah. Sometimes those intermediate sprint crashes do happen. The concentration levels aren't as high, you're not as up, and you're aware, your adrenaline levels aren't there, and that's where sometimes mistakes can be made. There's a lot of riders going for that intermediate sprint as well. Still a big fight for that points classification.
Our KSBO rider just in second wheel. Is this Mizuki that's going here from Terengganu? So we've got our next group going clear here. Got Equipo Kern Farmer in the green. KSBO rider, again just very similar to position to Japanese national champion yesterday, Yamamoto. As our next group goes in, 92 kilometres to go. We're through our first intermediate sprint. It was a proper battle. They were not letting a breakaway go clear. So a shortish stage today, 123.8 kilometres. It's just kind of, some days when it's shorter like this, it can be like this, frantic all day, can't it?
Yeah, and everyone's a bit more nervous. There's so much more going on. See at the front of that breakaway, trying to get riders to roll through. Caja Royale on the front, chasing their Spanish team rivals down. Kern Farmer and Euskaltel Euskadi are in the breakaway. Does mean a bit of that Spanish civil war still going on. Caja Royale chasing them down. It's all back together again. EF Education, Easy Post, they're rubbing their hands together. They're here to protect the general classification of Simon Carr, and then second place Cepeda. They haven't needed to do much work today, just allowing everyone to race freely. And it's more likely the sprinter teams have also having a bit of a day off, because teams keep missing it. The likes of Tudor Pro Cycling haven't touched the front yet. Astana, Kazakhstan, which those two teams have the big sprinters in their ranks. All it means is they're saving their legs, ready for a big lead out when we come into the finish.
A lot resting on these bunch sprints. Arif Saleh still chilling at the back. Luke Mudgeway just in front of him for Bolton Equities Black Spoke. So unfortunately, it looks like we've had a bit of info through that it looks like Carlos Canalblanco's had to retire from the race. That's such a shame for the Euskaltel Euskadi rider. It's just come through on our race radio. That's such a shame, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's been riding so well.
We saw him get back up on his feet, but obviously either too bad of an injury or potentially damage to the bikes. So wishing him the best. Hopefully it's not too much, anything too bad. But a really big shame.
Our next group going on the attack, our motorbike. Whoop. Just trying to find the riders. Just trying to get clear here. They do a great job, our moto cams. It's just sometimes you just you just got to switch the camera to the other side of you when the bike goes. It did look like Nico Parisia that was going clear for 7-11. We'll get a confirmation as soon as we get up there. It also looked like we had Nuraiman Rosli potentially that was also trying to get clear, the national champion of Malaysia. So two riders that have been on the attack constantly this week, like Jambal Jamp, Sayan Bayer. Nothing getting clear here. All the motorbikes, unfortunately, they have to move clear when they have to move past, because it's like a rolling road closure. So you see the bikes that are up there, and they're always just trying to constantly move through the race to get up to the next point to close the roads. So it's just on these wide roads as well. It's just picking those moments to get past as well.
But just to go through, having a look at the schedule, averaging over 47k an hour for the distance we're at. It's been a very fast start to the day. Ticking the kilometres off. Be interesting after an hour racing how far we get down the road. It's been non-stop so far.
Is this a point as well when you get into and you're in this and you're 7 days into a stage race and it's kicking off like this, and you're in that bunch, and you must just be sometimes thinking, oh, you're having a laugh, let break go.
Maybe, but potentially it just means it's over faster, and it's actually in a good way. If your legs are feeling okay, then it's alright, but sometimes you are on a bad day, it could be quite hard. But it does mean you get to the hotel quicker, you get your massage done quicker, you can get a bit more recovery ready for the final day tomorrow. But in a way, if you're on the front foot and you're attacking, you're feeling good, it's brilliant. You're completely in with the race, and there's a lot of riders who are feeling like you, attacking like you, and you're involved. And you're on the positive, you're on the front foot. But some days, if you're on the back foot and you're having a bad day, then yeah, it's quite hard. You're just sat in the wheels, just following and suffering, just following the wheel in front of you. But I do think that bit of tailwind we've forecast pretty much for the whole day, we go in one direction, is helping them along.
So Asman there, or just at the back for the Malaysian national team. Does look like one of his teammates that has gone up the road. How far up the road? Not far at the moment. Nothing really managing to stick at the moment. You can see just it's a flat stage. It just sort of rises and falls like this. It is Nur Aiman Rosli. He was on the attack yesterday, the national time trial champion of Malaysia. And straight up there, straight into his rhythm is Rosli. One rider trying to get up. Is this Mizuki? Masaki Yamamoto, this is. So yeah, Masaki Yamamoto that getting up here, is it? For
Peloton aren't letting them go away though, are they?
No.
Chase behind again.
So two riders that have been together so far. We're going to take a short commercial break. Make sure you come back. We'll see you in a few moments.
No matter how far you go, there's always PETRONAS Premix 95 with Pro Drive to make your journey smoother. PETRONAS Premix 95 with Pro Drive, Malaysians' favorite fuel.
Hayati keindahan alam semula jadi. rasai pengalaman yang berharga. Cipta perspektif baharu. Fahami ekosistem di sekeliling kita. Berdepan dengan kepelbagaian bio. Hanya di Johor. Menyimpan pelbagai misteri dan legenda. Ketinggian Gunung Ledang penuh cabaran. Memberikan bayangan masa lalu yang dilihat melalui masa kini. Akar bercabang dalam rentang yang luas, meniti laluan, memasuki alam yang sudah lama wujud. Tempat flora dan fauna terancam berlindung. Inilah satu-satunya Taman Negara Endau Rompen. Satu nafas kehidupan memberikan inspirasi. Jejakkan kaki mendekati kehidupan alam semula jadi. Hayati hubungan yang sudah lama terjalin antara bumi dan manusia. Dikelilingi kawasan pergunungan, rasai tenaga aliran air. Sungai Endau harungi air yang menyegarkan. Tidur semalaman dalam kedamaian di Kuala Marung setelah seharian mengembara, rehatkan badan di dalam air yang menyejukkan. Semarakkan semula semangat baharu, bersaksikan penyatuan kejadian alam secara harmoni. Terkenal sebagai Nature's Bathtub, Upih Guling adalah bukti bahawa keindahan semula jadi kadangkala tersembunyi. Tenang, murni. Ketenteraman air di tasik air biru menanti anda. Habitat untuk kehidupan akuatik menjadi tempat tinggal ikan tropika yang sudi dimanjai. Rentasi dimensi yang menakjubkan. Saksikan gabungan elemen-elemen semula jadi. Bersemuka dengan ciptaan luar biasa dan hidupan liar eksotik. Di Johor, pasti terpesona. Tanjung Piai, titik paling selatan di benua Asia. Padat dengan hutan bakau dan tanah lumpur berpaya. Memainkan peranan penting dalam ekosistem di Malaysia, menjadi tempat persinggahan burung-burung yang bermigrasi dan tempat perlindungan untuk kehidupan laut. Istimewa bukan sahaja untuk Malaysia, tetapi di mata dunia. Ditumbuhi pokok bakau, Sungai Melayu menjadi tanda bukti pergantungan manusia terhadap kepelbagaian sumber-sumber di bumi. Pantai berpasir dipukul ombak lautan, deretan kepulauan yang wajib dijelajah dan menjadi saingan destinasi percutian yang terkenal di dunia. Di bawah kehangatan cahaya matahari dan udara segar, menjadi permata yang tidak pernah mengecewakan. Syurga buat pelancong eco dari seluruh pelosok dunia. Hutan hujan dan habitat yang terpelihara menjadikan pengembaraan lebih bermakna. Mengukir kenangan yang kekal, merasai kehebatan bumi ini. Terokailah negeri Johor.
Welcome back to the penultimate stage of La Tour de Langkawi. It is blisteringly quick here on stage 7 today, eye-wateringly so. It's categorized that are now on the attack, and we have done 44 kilometres so far, John.
Yeah, it's been in plus of around 47.5 kilometres an hour off my bit of working out on the maths. Get confirmation and probably after 1 hour of racing to see how fast they've actually gone. Doesn't seem like there's any time where it's going to sit up either. One rider from Caja Royale on the attack, and it's that orange team of Yuskadel Uskadi on the front. Just to remind you, unfortunately, a big crash hit that intermediate sprint. Only one rider going down. That was Carlos Canal Blanco, and unfortunately he's had to pull out of the race. But Yuskadel still on the front, chasing this man down now.
And he sits, Joachim Mergelde sits 8th overall at 1 minute and 39 seconds. So this is an interesting move. It's going to be, we'll see who decides to start chasing this one. But yeah, good move by the Caja rider. He's been on the attack quite a lot this week as Joachim Mergelde.
He's getting close though, so he is only 1 second off John Agrier of Aquicurn Farmer in the general classification. He has 3 kilometres until that intermediate sprint, so is he trying to steal some seconds?
Could be. It's Joachim for Caja. Multiple breakaways we've seen him in this week. Just maybe give himself a little bit of a buffer in that GC if he can. So 140. So our GC, so he's at 140. Jon Aguirre's at 139. So he sits in 9th overall. So could he get himself up there? We've got some proper battles going on today for the top 10. Can he move himself up in GC? The sprint is coming in 3 kilometres time for Joachim Mergelde, and I'm sure Caja, they will know the threat of this man, and they're bringing it back here. So you can see the not wanting to let him go, and the rider that's he's chasing Jon Aguirre is wearing number 66. So we'll see if it's Aguirre that is up here, making sure that he's trying to defend his position on the GC. Good effort though, Joachim Mergelde. The rider's aggressive today. So there you have it. There's the result of the sprint at Umbai. Arvid Decline did edge out Enrico Zanloncello for the 3 points. Michael Ziliard there taking the 1 point to Tudor Pro Cycling, topping and tailing that intermediate sprint result. Zanoncello taking 2nd. So all these classifications and the GC positions in the top 10 are all being really highly fought over. Very aggressive final couple days. It's really setting things up.
You can see now in the final kilometre before this intermediate sprint, Tudor Pro Cycling have come to the front. They're looking after Decline again.
It's our king of the mountains, Simon Pello, who's leading out, and you've got Babor, the man from Czechia, who's leading out for his teammates. So he's tried to get clear, has Joachim Mergelde. Thomas Barter, is now leading out Mergilday. Simon Pello swings off, hands over to Zilliard, who's got Decline right on the wheel. So Decline trying to lead out. Here come Green Project Bardiani. We've got a real battle royale going on here for the intermediate sprints. Mergilday, you can see in the green, is chasing another position in GC. And look at the big man from Categorized, who's been leading out for his teammates. Babor leading out. Here comes Arvid Decline.
He's got swamped there.
Oh, what a shame. After that lead out, you can tell if your lead out man's going to lead you out, you have to try. Comes through. You can see him just having a word there with Mergilday after he'd done the job.
Yeah, this is where you see the sprinters compared with those GC and climbers. Big difference there, wasn't it? You have to be proactive when you go for the sprint. Can't get boxed in and swamped. But really, the pace might have just been too high. Mergilday, a brilliant climber up there on Genting Highlands. It isn't his forte in the sprint, is it? So when you start competing against sprinters and stage winners already at this year's Tour de Langkawi, yeah, there's a big difference. Yeah. But of course, there's a big difference for the sprinters when they go up a climb. Those climbers like Mergilday.
And that is, you know, you saw him getting a little bit of frustration with his teammate, but he tried. And as you said, it's a different world between your sprinters and your GC riders in terms of that sort of lead out, especially when you got Arvid Decline up there. So it's Arvid Decline from George Jackson and Michael Valgren. That was your order over the line. So Valgren for EF Education. Easy post. George Jackson getting up there, getting 2 points. Good to see Jackson from Bolton Equities Black Spoke just getting in the mix there. Next flurry of attacks going in here. Equipo Kern Farmer, Caja Rural and Human Powered Health on the attack, and it looks like it's our Scottish rider from Caja Rural, Callum Johnston, that's up here for them. Mudgeway just rolling along in the back at the moment is Luke Mudgeway, and wearing 46 there. Expect to see him up there later on for the lead outs. A little bit of a gap in the middle of the peloton there. You can see the pressure has been on. Here he goes. Jambujan Sambayer going again for Terengganu. So his next move. Green Project Barney.
Yeah, I'm not interested in going that, he thinks.
It's like, no, off you go, chap.
Yeah.
And it's his turn of speed, isn't it? I mean, as I said earlier on, he took a bronze medal rather in the Asian Continental Time Trial Championships, and it's his jump, but also his ability to get himself and hold his high time trial power again and again and again, constantly. There is where we are in terms of our orange jersey, our points classifications. Arvid Decline now 51 points to Enrico Zanoncello's 38, Gleb Sarista third with 34. So it's good to see Tudor Pro and Arvid really making sure that he makes this jersey his own. Extends his lead. Very keen to try and get clear is Cyan Bayer. We've got one intermediate sprint to come with 32.8 to go. We had some nice close-up shots of the Pinarello of Luke Mudgeway there.
I think he's had a fresh haircut as well. You can see the side of his head there. Nice and shaved, trying to match George Jackson. Looked like a very fresh skin fade. Probably not even a fade, actually. If he's trying to match Jackson's hair, it'll just be a zero all the way to the top of that mullet.
That's such a lads on tour thing to do.
It is, yeah.
Shave each other's hair.
Shave the side of your hair, or bleach your hair blonde. That was the other one you always used to do when you had nothing else. When you were bored on a training camp.
You imagine, George Jackson's it's a clean shave all the time.
Yeah.
I imagine he's got his clippers with him in his
Yeah.
bag. So I imagine he's got I'm sure there's the Jackson hair salon open, in his room post stage anyway. For anyone that needs a fresh trim of their barnet. The most aggressive rider of the race so far, arguably, Jambal Jams, Sayan Bayer of Terengganu Polygon, the Malaysian team. Just any opportunity to get clear, jumping around. 72 kilometres to go. So we've now covered 52 kilometres, and we kind of have to remember that we had a 6 kilometre neutralised section from when we came on air. So we had quite a while on the rollout. Andres Vosselkans there from Hanjiang towards the back. This could be the pattern all the way into the finish here, that nothing gets clear, nothing manages to stick on today. Terengganu on the attack. Behind them, Rujai Online Insurance, Malaysian national champion, that road champ. That one is trying to come across. Zarif, Nuraiman Zarif from Terengganu.
It's the first time we've seen the peloton go all across the road. So is this a breakaway that's going to be allowed to go clear? The problem is we get closer and closer to the finish, the more they won't want a breakaway to go clear. More chance of that break staying away as it gets closer to the finish. If it's a big group, they'll have to bring it back. So it ups the chances for the breakaway. Two riders from Terengganu. This time Mazuki and the Malaysian champion Zarif, joined again by that Frenchman Valentin Midday of Rujai Online Insurance.
We're on board with Astana. So just time to an opportunity to fill up for the riders. You can see there, ice packs needed. So the big old ice packs.
Huge,
Those
huge
that's
ice socks.
That's a monster ice pack, that one, isn't it?
That's what you need.
If you're just joining our coverage today, welcome. It is the stage 7 of the 27th edition of La Tour de Langkawi here in Malaysia, and it has been eye-wateringly fast. The start to today's stage, we thought it could be quick, and it is. Nothing's really managed to get clear. It looks like a day for a bunch sprints. That was always on paper. And we now have the start of a breakaway group. So joining them at the front is Riley Fleming. It is Riley Fleming that's up there for St. George. You can see them getting up there and getting in on the action. Number 145 is Christian Rallanu. And then our other rider that's got up here is Davide Gaburo, but got 3 more riders coming across. So number 162 is Ronnie L. Campos. Up there for Euskatelus Kdi, Chomin Horisti Arietta. And so then wearing number 93, Gorka Surarin Aguirre from Kakarurao. Gabura getting up here. We've seen him on the attack this week, Davide Gaburo. Is this group sizable enough now to go clear with the peloton, or are all lined out again behind? They're really not wanting, they're not happy about this.
Not at all. Group of 9 at the front, and that's too big, obviously. Maybe it's Quick and Farmer. They're the only Spanish team not represented. They bringing it back. Wow, it's been a entertaining stage 7 of Tour de Langkawi. And it does look like it will come all back together again.
68 kilometres to go. We're ticking them off in quick succession here, and it's Bolton Equities Black Spoke that are bringing it back this time with EF Education Easy Post right on the wheel. A little shake of the heads of that as they're not able to get clear. Gaburo not happy.
Yeah, they just can't understand why there isn't a break being allowed to go. It always seems like good breaks go, but one team seems to miss it, and they're willing to ride on the front and bring it back together. Maybe now this is the time. Even so, now a group of 4.
So Gorka Seraren looks around at Zarif. That little pause enough for the peloton just to come back. Next attacker looks like Nicole Pareja of 7-11 from the Philippines. Blink and you'll miss it, I think, today is the buzzword, because this stage is being run off at quite a pace. Big shout out to Deng Pengai, wearing the blue there, wearing 201, still in the race, the only rider left from the Giant cycling team, a man from China. At the front, Rujai are the next team to go on the attack. This Valentin Mide for the 3rd time today, trying to get off the front. Right hand turn here, out of the saddle, bit of an injection of pace, looks back over the shoulder, nicely timed move.
So just for your information, that right hand turn on the fastest schedule at 46 kilometers an hour, that was at 10:27. We're 5 minutes ahead of the fastest schedule. So we're close to around 48, 49 kilometers an hour average speed for the whole race so far. Flat out.
And Mide going for the 3rd time today, Valentin Mide. Some days you just feel that you've got the legs, but look at that group behind. We've got a group of 8, 9, 10 riders all stretched out, but the peloton really not letting them go. We're on board with the Green Project Bardiani. Could it be their day today? Gaburo from the head of the race back to the team car. So got himself into the move, then he drops back. On board with Terengganu.
Everyone trying to pick a time to come back for bottles. There isn't much time. The racing is so flat out. This is probably their only chance of the day. By the time you try and come back any later, the race will really be on. So if you've made your way back to the car, you fully load up with bottles for the whole of your team. Bottles, ice socks, and everything. Then get back up to that peloton, distribute it around your teammates.
We're on board here with Bolton Equities Black Spoke. It's a good little glimpse into the team cars.
See, Bolton Equities Black Spoke. That's a good way of doing it with the musette. Just pile the bottles into a musette, past the musette in one go. Then you can get some more bottles out now.
DS snacks all lined up on the passenger seat there as well.
Rucksack and Pringles.
You can see the rider behind, just behind the car. They're just lining up. A few more bottles and musettes ahead of the race. This is a big old group going clear here. We've got about 20 riders going clear here. So this is danger move if someone unexpected has potentially got in here. This will be crunch time because the bunch behind will have to decide if they actually want to let this go, because so many teams are represented in here. Tudor have got 2 riders in there.
Yeah, represented on the back. He won't contribute at all, of course.
Jambo Jam Cyan Bayer is there.
Of course.
What?
Don't need to check his number. We'll know he's in every single break.
If he's not there, we'd be like, "Where's Jambo Jam's gone?" And he's like, "Come on, he's only done what 40 attacks today."
Yeah. If he misses a break, how have you missed a break?
Yeah. Imagine what the debrief was like afterwards. It's like, "Come on, Jambo Jams, you know."
Yeah, come on. You missed 1 out of the 14 breakaways that went today. That's not good enough. What a rider! What a way to race!
He's incredible, isn't he? He's so exciting to watch. Mide still in there. Just having a glance down our group just to try and get all their numbers for you. Harold Martin Lopez sneaking into the group. That's a cheeky move. He's 10th overall at 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Benjamin Perry is in here for Human Powered Health. Then you've got Bailey O'Donnell from Bolton Equities Black Spoke. Mazaki Yamamoto, no mistaking the style of the Japanese national champion after yesterday. The big question is though, will they let this one go? There are so many teams represented in this move, and I think the answer to our question is no, because it's too big, too dangerous, especially with Harold Martin Lopez.
Yeah, no one's
in there for Astana.
Willing to really work together and ride.
Can anyone counter off the back of this one to perhaps anyone that's maybe not so much of a danger? Alexander Konishev for Coritex Sella Italia jumping around. There's Simon Pello, our King of the Mountains. Now there's no more King of the Mountains points in the race at all. He had that jersey sewn up on the Genting Highlands. It's always good to see a rider that really fights and battles. The King of the Mountains carries such prestige within cycling to carry off a King of the Mountains jersey, especially that has a summit finish like the Genting Highlands. And he sewed it up with making sure that he took maximum points over the Category 1 climb just before we went on to the Genting Highlands climb. So it's been an impressive ride to take that jersey for the Tudor Pro Man.
Yeah, he's done a brilliant job. Found himself in that breakaway, picked off the points. And even got himself a little custom bike out of it. But of course, it is this man again on the attack. If there is an overall most combative prize, you know where it's going.
Definitely. As Masahisa Yamamoto comes across. Another rider the last couple of days that just seems to have found his form in this race, really ridden into the Tour de Langkawi as the Japanese national champion. So we now have the national champion of Mongolia and the national champion of Japan on the attack. He'll just settle in now behind his national champion, rival national champion from Japan. 60k to go. You're off for a short commercial break. Make sure you come back.
To achieve big goals, to bring new possibilities, partnerships and collaborations are imperative. With the focus of people, planet and profit, together with our partners, we are amplifying our efforts to reduce carbon emissions in our downstream operations. To strike a balance between business goals and environmental needs, at the same time recognizing and addressing the plastic waste and pollution in the economy. One of downstream subsidiaries, PETRONAS Chemicals Group, is committed shifting the industry towards a circular economy approach, better known as New Plastics Economy.
Thanks to technology and collaborations, this will not become a mere figment of imagination, but soon will be a reality for us. Working with a global player, we are currently looking at the possibility of building a chemical recycling plant, creating enterprise value in energy transitions such as sustainable fuel and cleaner forms of energy for mobility. It is up to us to make our planet a better place, one that we will be proud to leave behind for the future generation. It is our hope to inspire change, and together we will forge ahead towards a greener tomorrow. This is my pledge to the organization.
This is our pledge to you.
Welcome back to stage 7 of the Tour de LANGKAWI. 55 kilometres to go. Minute and 8 from our breakaway group to the peloton. That went quickly. The gap has gone out quite quickly. It has been some start to the stage today, you would say. But 2 leaders. We'll update you on them momentarily. They've got clear and they've got a gap really quickly here on the stage today. And it looks like the peloton have finally decided that a breakaway is gonna go. And it looks like Jambo Jamp's signed by air on the attack with Masaki Yamamoto. They went clear just when we went for our little commercial break, and now building an advantage. The peloton clearly have thought, do you know what? Jambo Jam Signby has tried so many times today to try and get clear for Terengganu that they are going to finally let him go. Working well together. So Signby sits 16th overall at 3:22. Masaki Yamamoto 38th at 10 minutes and 37 seconds down for national champion of Japan. But 54k to go. The next objective along the route, our next target is our intermediate sprint at Lingi with 32.8 kilometres to go. That will be the next target, and then it is a run in towards the finish. It's 123.8 kilometres today from Muar to Seremban, to 8 stages in total this year's race. 1,278.1 kilometres in total for the entirety of the race. Gap now pressing out to about a minute and a half. Let's go. You can see the gap now going up to 1:30 over the peloton. As we head towards the final 50 kilometres of the stage. It should be a day for the sprinters, so they've got this under control. Definitely at a minute 30 it is controllable on these sort of roads as well. Very long, very wide, very fast roads that they're dealing with. But a good combo that are at the front, and 2 good teams represented, JCL Ukyo and Terengganu Polygon. Two days, you got to say, Masaki Yamamoto on the attack yesterday. He went solo, and Jambo Down signed by air for about the 50th time today. His persistence is inspiring, I think, is for want of a better word.
Yeah, they definitely don't know when to give up, and that's exactly what you need to do. 2 riders will be committed, and of course will be pulling equal amount of turns as well. They both want to be where they are. Neutral service, trying to get a bottle off to either of the riders if they need it.
Yeah, at the moment it's just, you can see, because it's left and right constantly at the moment. They were just trying to find a safe side and a safe point to
actually get
come alongside. Yeah. Yamamoto grabs a bottle. So the neutral service, just showing how important they're such an important part of the race, neutral service, and they always do everything they can, whether it's covering the rider's feed until the teams get up there, giving them water, taking things off the riders as well.
Yeah, and they're always there. As soon as the breakaway goes, they can support them where they need to. Of course, when the team cars haven't made it to the front behind them, they can get bottles course, any mechanical problem, they're there to try and help as fast as possible. But actually the key bit is getting water and fuel when they need it. These two both really strong. It could cause a bit of an upset today. They could really put this peloton under pressure. But of course, peloton now all lined out again. They know we keep talking about the talent of these two riders in the breakaway. Peloton know about it as well. Chase is really on now.
And when we come to the end, look at the peloton, how lined out it is. We've got a bit of a gap now at the back. You've got to be really careful. And you can see there's a few little cracks that are opening. And Cyan Bayer he's a threat to the top 10. That's the way. If this breakaway went and they managed to surprise the peloton and managed to go all the way to the finish, he potentially puts himself up into the top 10 overall. And he's just so aggressive. It's just something to behold, the way that the Mongolian national champion races, constantly fighting to get into the breakaways. He's just got one of those styles as well on the bike, isn't he? It's so easy. His pedaling style, everything is sort of about the power, the turn of speed that he's got is really has really impressed me this week. Our camera crews getting creative, as they always do. Nice little international, nice little flag array that they've got going on there. So we've covered 74 kilometres so far in today's stage. We rolled out about 9 o'clock, and we had a 6 kilometre neutral section. I didn't make a note of what time we had kilometre zero. Was it about 9:15?
Yeah, I think so. About, yeah, it's 12 minutes expected. 12 minutes past 9. Well, near enough, an hour and a half of racing.
Yeah, 9:13 they gave us start proper on our timing. It's about, yeah, and as you said,
90 minutes,
hour and a half, and we're already 50k to go. And it's Tudor Pro on the front, as you would expect for Arva Decline. They will want another sprint, try and deliver him to a hat-trick of victories in this year's race. EF Education Easy Post defending for our overall leader, Simon Carr. Thanks for joining us. Welcome along. Is stage 7 of La Tour de Langkawi today. 123.8 kilometres, the penultimate stage. Let's take you back to stage 6. What a day out we had. Jamble Jams, Siam Bayer going clear with on the attack with Nur Aiman Rosli. Polychronis Sorzakis. Siam Bayer was chasing bonus seconds out on the route. The national champion of Mongolia from Terengganu on to the second sprint of the day at Batu Kikye. Siam Bayer taking 3. Rosli, though, not having any of it. Took the next sprints. 2 seconds for Siam Bayer. On to the King of the Mountains points, and the Terengganu polygon rider was clear on his own. Rosli taking 2. It was all back together into the finish, and Tudor Pro Cycling delivered Arvid de Klein absolutely perfectly for his second stage win of this year's race, just edging out Sasha Vimas of Human Powered Health. Gleb Sarista of Astana, Kazakhstan was third spot. Simon Carr retaining his overall lead in the general classification. Decline in orange, Pronsky in white.
Now that you are the only one with 2 stage wins, are you even more the favorite ahead of a bunch sprint?
I don't know. I already have 2, so I'm pretty comfortable right now. And we will see. Like, I would like to have another sprint, but if it's not, I already have 2. So.
And with 2 days to go, do you feel very close and very far from the podium in 4th place?
Yes, at the same time it wasn't very far because we have no mountain stages left and only some bonus seconds in the intermediate sprints, and that's our mission now, to try to get some sprints and get the 3rd place in the GC.
Let's have a look ahead at what the riders will be tackling on stage 7. It's flat, it's fast. We head out of Muar for 123.8 kilometres. 1 sprint at Umbai with 95.2 to go. 1 at Cheng with 76 to go. 1 at Lingui with 32.8 to go. And a fast technical run in towards the finish. It should be a day for the fast men. Rollout given with 6 kilometres of neutralised section out of beautiful Muar, of the most popular tourist destinations in Malaysia. Make sure you put that on your bucket list for when you come to visit our national champion of Malaysia, Nur Aiman Zarif, there. Pronsky in that white jersey. Simon Pello has got the King of the Mountains sewn up. It has been frantic, to say the least, and we had our first intermediate sprint of the day, and after a big chase by Euskaltel Euskadi, their man Carlos Canal Blanco, unfortunately going down on the run-in to the sprint, he actually had to retire from the race. Our points leader, Arvid de Klein, taking maximum points ahead of 2nd placed Enrico Zaroncello, with Gleb Sarista taking 3rd. On to the 2nd sprint, Cajarural, after Joachim Mergel Day, was trying to get up there and get the seconds. He was led out by his teammate Thomas Barter, the big sprinter, but unfortunately our GC man, and you saw the kind of consternation there by Barter to his teammate after the work he'd done, but it went to Arvid de Klein ahead of George Jackson. It's a nice day for the riders today. The weather is beautiful on stage 7. Great day for a bike race, and 45 kilometers we have to go. 1 minute and 30 seconds is the time gap. The temperature is 29 degrees Celsius. It's a 13 kilometer an hour southeasterly wind. And going into today, Simon Carr of EF Education Easy Post leading teammate Alexander Cepeda by 49 seconds. Pablo Castillo of Equipo Farmer third at 58 seconds. Your breakaway group contains Jambuljan Sambayer of Terengganu Polygon, wearing 106 here, the national champion of Mongolia. And Masaki Yamamoto of JCL Ukyo. He is wearing number 111. Two of the most aggressive riders over the last couple of days. Jambuljan Sambayer is arguably the most combative rider of the race so far. If you are just joining our coverage, it is probably something in the region of the 10th attack of the day by Jambuljan Sambayer. Martin McDonald and John Mould with you to take you through today's race action. Tudor Pro on the front with EF Education Easy Post behind them. Jambuljan Sambayer, John, is just absolutely phenomenal the way he's ridden and tackled this race.
Yeah, so aggressive. So we did catch up with him in an interview a couple of days ago, and he just wants to take on the race and race really hard. And that's exactly what he's been doing today. Was nothing less proper extraordinary way he was riding, following every move, being there. He's not going to take too much out of him and try and when he tries to hold on for stage victory, but the way he's riding, it's really impressive. It's been a joy to watch, actually. It's really great to see riders really just taking on, being aggressive, trying to go up the road. Almost wish he had a bit more company. Only Yamamoto joining him. Been such a fast start to the race. It's going to continue the same way. 43 kilometres to go now, but if there's a couple more riders in this breakaway, it would be a bit of a worry for that peloton, I think, because we're so close to the finish.
And the team's working on the front. Tudor Pro did a great job yesterday in leading out for Arvid Decline. And EF Education Easy Post, the team of Simon Carr, our overall leader. Good to see two national champs jerseys at the head of the race. National champion of Japan on the front with Masaki Yamamoto. And then our national champion of Mongolia right behind. Two real celebrations of national champions kits. Does look like Polygon have done a full Mongolian national champions bike as well, which is always special as a national champion if you get to ride that bike throughout the year.
Yeah, of course then, hopefully if you're trying to keep it as well, something to remember, the national champs jersey and you win. Nice custom bike. Of course in the years afterwards you've still got that bike for a long time. Always nice when the bike manufacturers make a little custom bike as well. Now we see Astana, Kazakhstan. They have moved themselves to the front to help out Tudor Pro Cycling.
And you can just see the bit of chat going on now at the front. So Tudor Pro have been controlling for a while. They brought it back to 46 seconds. Now they look around and give a nod to the other teams to say, okay, up you come.
He was happy with that view when he turned around. Another rider to come and help him. This is the most relaxed this peloton has been for all of today. A frantic start, so many attacks over and over again. The peloton and the riders will be happy with a bit more of a relaxed time. We're not. I was hoping they just race flat out like they would all the way to the finish, because it's been absolutely brilliant from the start of this race.
If you are just joining us today, it's been absolutely bonkers this morning. It's just been, it was just attack after attack after attack. It was really exciting to watch, and a lot of it driven by this man here in that bunch behind. And it is kind of that $1 million question sometimes, in terms of if you've got someone in your team who's got a sprint, and that what is that chat like when it is just down to those two teams. It is just down to Tudor and Astana. But you look around and you've got Categorized, that they've had a stage win. They know that they've got a sprinter here. We're not seeing them towards the front. How long would you do it before you start to think, right, everyone else needs to come and help me now?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You kind of just back your sprinters that we can really say, you know, excluding Babor of Caja Royale, Decline and Saritza are the fastest men in the race. They won the first two stages between them. They were the out and out sprint stages. We had a bit of a harder day on day 3, but you know that it's kind of your job. It's expected at that point, and really, if you want it to be a bunch sprint, you have to just sacrifice those riders to do it. And you trust your sprinter to deliver the best they can do when it comes down to the finish. And unfortunately, you might get some more riders towards the end of the race to help you in the final 20k, and then you can save the riders for the lead out. But unfortunately, when you are one of those teams with the big sprinters, everyone's going to look at you straight away. And it's almost just holding that peloton in a close to the breakaway, close enough that it's always there. The stage win is always shouting at everyone else in the peloton. There's still hope constantly, and then the other riders then start to come forward when they need to.
And the wind direction today, it's literally could not be more of a tailwind if it tried.
No, it was literally perfect conditions. Followed them the whole way, from the start all the way to the finish, pushing them along. That's why everyone was keen to be in the breakaway, I think. Racing was really fast. But when there's a strong tailwind to the finish, you've got a chance of trying to hold off this peloton.
One team we're seeing all in formation who have got close but no cigar yet are Human Powered Health with Sasha Vimas. So if we look back through the race so far, day 1, Decline, Vimas, Saritza. Day 2, they did a good lead out for him and he kind of got washed away a little bit. It was Saritza from Decline from Zanoncello. Didn't get into that top 10 on that day. He's then had 3rd on stage 4 and 2nd again yesterday. So Sasha Vimas, the Belgian from Human Health, really consistent. How do you think he needs to tackle this sprint today against Decline? Looking at the running, how would you approach it in terms of the lead out and him?
I think a lot of the time he's getting swamped. He's a little bit sitting further back. It'd be good to just have a chance of them really leading it out. The final right-hand corner comes with 700 meters to go, and then the road really bears to the left. So I think for Human Powered Health, they can have sacrificed one rider to hold at least 2 riders in front of Sasha Vimas, say Gies van Hooker, and then maybe in front of him Benjamin Perry. 2 good sprinters in their own right and strong legs. If you have one rider in front of him, likes of De Vos or even Paul Double, he's out of the danger. Even though he is riding for general classification, it is quite safe in that situation. If you can hold them in a position, maybe top 10 in the running, in the technical running we have in the last 4k, and then try and make a move around a kilometre, 900 meters to go, so you're first into the right-hander with 2 riders in front of Sasha Vimas, and then you go to the left-hand side of the road. It bears up, drags, but it just slowly goes to the left-hand side. I think that would be brilliant to see them get together and try and work and deliver Vimas in a big lead-out. Instead of, he seems to be a little bit too far back at times, and then he can't open up his sprint until late. We saw him come really fast and pick up 3rd place, and that was when he seemed like he has more speed than a lot of other riders, but he's not had a chance to really open up his sprint until the last 100 meters or 50 meters sometimes.
And is that because he's having to as we say, surf the wheels and freelance the sprint a little bit because he's maybe got one rider at the end, but that one rider is having to leave him too early? Because ideally you want to have, looking at maybe the sort of sprinter he is, 200 meters, 250 meters to go, because he got left with 300 to go, and clearly for him was too far out, so he backed off and had to come again. So,
and then you do that and you lose that momentum, that speed that you've had, and then you have to make a big effort to then accelerate to the top speed. So it'd be great to see them really just need to get round him and give him a chance of actually having a sprint. He's there or thereabouts, so the stage win is definitely possible.
And it is good for a GC rider like Paul Double to learn how to be a part of that team, because you want, as a GC rider, you need your sprinters on the days where you're getting led into a mountain. So it's a way, and again, as a young rider like Paul Double coming through, and he's off to Iolo Cometo next year, but you have to learn that process, don't you? Is to say, right, my goal is to get through 3K to go safely. So if he's would he be that first rider that you would put, and then how would you approach it from there?
He could be the first rider, but even so, he could be doing a job later on. General classification for him, if we're honest, it's not much is going to change. And an effort at the end of a race, he's obviously got really good form, good legs. It's always good practice. You need to be able to fight in those positions as a GC rider, because some days it could be a really technical bunch finish in a race without a 3 kilometer rule, and then almost a drag or a hilltop finish. And then you have sprinters in the mix, you have GC riders in the mix. It's always good to be involved in that and understand how the bunch really moves. It always helps then in reduced group sprints. It's easier then, you're not in a fight between 100 riders. That group comes down, size comes down, you're used to the rough and tumble, the squeezing through gaps when you don't think there's a gap there. All these things are really good practice. But for V-Mouse, this is another chance for him today. Hopefully Human Powered Health can get everything round him and give him a good chance, or at least the opportunity to really open up his sprint and test himself against the other sprinters in the race.
Great to have some music along the side of the route. We're heading towards our next intermediate sprint of the day at Lingi, and Masaki Yamamoto is just looking for the team car behind. And in terms of GC, he's 38th at 10:37, so they don't need to sprint out for this point. Jambojan Samboyer is higher than him on general classification, so he's looking for some bonus seconds. 500 meters to go to our intermediate sprint for our two leaders. So Taranganu Polygon and Team JCL Ukio looking for a feed just before the sprint point. So that kind of tells us that he's not going to sprint it out for this one. He might just have the two of them roll through. Drone just covering the riders up towards the sprint. And 100 meters into the sprint town here at Lingi. All the drummers are out along the sides. So Sayan Bayer, Jambo Jamps, takes that ahead of Yamamoto. Job done. Another 3 seconds in the bag for Jambo Jamps. So just roll through there. Just keeping that continuity, that fluidity of the breakaway. And that's what you need in this situation, isn't it? If you start jumping around, you lose those valuable seconds.
Yeah, there's two of them. They just need to work together, try and hold off this peloton. They needed a few more numbers there to really put them under pressure. I think that's why it took so long for any breakaway to be allowed to go up the road. Behind that, Buchan Farmer taking that final second.
Was that Pablo Castrillo, I think? Maybe. We'll get confirmation of that as soon as we get the number. But a minute with 33 kilometres to go. Beat the heat is our motto. You can see they've got their banner there. I'm sure everyone's been doing a few projects here and there. The peloton, though, you can see the pressure, how lined out this is still.
It hasn't had any time to relax, actually. This rider's in one line. It's been a fast one. If there's a day when they're trying to beat the heat, they're trying to get this done over as quickly as possible.
And that aerial shot there, just look at that, really shows the pressure is on. So it's Jambo Jam, Sain Bayer, Mazaki Yamamoto. It was even Kobo from Ikipo Kern Farmer that went for the 1 second. So 3, 2 and 1 points, 3, 2 and 1 seconds. And that is our final intermediate prize behind us. There's your sprints classification. Arvid Decline still at the top with 51. Enrico Zanoncello second with 38. Gleb Sarista third with 34. So a good advantage in that classification for Arvid Decline. Our two leaders, how long can they stay away for? 50 seconds only is the time gap. Neutral service up now to keep both of the riders hydrated. Their team cars will have been pulled out of the gap. And you can see the ice socks that the riders have had down their necks, just kind of flapping around now as well in the jersey. They've got them in the pockets. I'll just give you a few of your top 10s on the sprint stages so far, just to give you an idea who you're watching out for. Gave you your top 3. Stage 6 yesterday, which may give us a good glimpse of who's coming through the Tour de Langkawi with good legs. Arvid Decline from Sasha Vimas. Gleb Sarita was third for Astana. So Tudor Pro, Human Powered Health and Astana, your podium. Enrico Zanoncello fourth for the Green Project Bardiani. Daniel Babor of Kakarura was fifth. Gijs van Hoeke, who's the lead-out man for Sasha Vimas, hanging on for sixth. Alexander Konishev of Coritex Stella Italia was 7th. Matt Bostock 8th yesterday for Bolton Equities Black Spoke. Carlos Canal Blanco 9th for Euskaltel Euskadi, unfortunately. And if you weren't with us at the top of the show, Carlos Canal Blanco crashing out of the race at the intermediate sprint. His team were looking to lead him out. He'd lost 16 spot to this man here, Jambo Jam Sain Bayer. And they were looking to try and get him some bonus seconds. Unfortunately, it looked like he clipped a wheel and went down. So unfortunately, he's out of the race. Attila Viviani, 10th yesterday for Coritex Stella Italia. Stage 4's sprint was Daniel Babor from George Jackson, Sasha Vimas, Carlos Canal Blanco, which shows what a loss he is to these sprints. He was 4th, Lorenzo Conforti 5th, Attila Viviani, Maris Bogdanovic, Arvid Decline, Enrico Zanoncello and Gleb Sarista was your top 10 on stage 4 sprint. Stage 3 sprint was a different one in reduced numbers. George Jackson for Bolton Equities Black Spoke, Enrico Zanoncello, Carlos Canal Blanco, Gijs van Hoeke, Jeroen Myers, Iman Rossley, Jambo Jam Sain Bayer, which, as we've said throughout the week, whether he's on the attack or whether it's a bunch sprint, he's able to get in there. He's a very versatile rider. Lorenzo Conforti 8th, Alexander Konishev and Gorka Sorarin of Kakarura rounded out the top 10. Some other sprinters to watch out for. I've got Raymond Creeder got up there on stage 2 as well. Izzat Halil of Malaysian national team, 4th on the opening day. Looked good. We haven't really seen him since. Harif Saleh was 9th on the opening day, the Malaysian, and the most successful Malaysian rider in the race, Harif Saleh. Not really seen him mixing it out in the sprints, but maybe over the course of the last 2 days, the Terengganu rider might fancy his chances of a sprint. So that's kind of who you're watching out for at the finish. Will it be a hat trick of wins for Arvid to climb today? And to take 3 sprint wins in a race, to take 1 stage win in a race is great. If he can come out of this with 3 and even have an opportunity tomorrow for a 4th, that's a really solid end to a year for Tudor Pro and Arvid de Klein, who's building into a big year, an expected big year next year.
Yeah, it's a great way to end the season. And like you said, Tudor Pro cycling on the up in the future years. Really bringing in some big names next season. Of course, de Klein will be joined by the likes of Alberto Dianese from Team DSM, winner recently at the Vuelta a España, good sprinter. Of course, really strong Italian, experienced Italian in Matteo Trentin. You know, Trentin's class. Someone who's won so many races. For a rider like de Klein, a great rider to learn from, really, actually. I know he's 29 years old himself, de Klein, but opened up his big chance. He was part of the Dutch team Metek, which is a very good continental team for many, many years. But it's great to see him getting that opportunity, even at 29, 30 years old next year. See him stepping up into some bigger races. And give him some great confidence ready for the off-season. You finish on a high, you have your break, and you're full of confidence then. You come back on a positive note. Sometimes you might start winter training a bit too keen. You need to just remember there's plenty of time to come. But the way the seasons are now, before you know it, you have 2 weeks off your back. Could be back to Australia, you could be out to UAE tour, races like that in early February, January, and yeah, you're back to it. And before you know it, it's June, July, and it's nationals. And then you're thinking about coming back. Oh, I'm already back at Tour de Langkawi already.
Yeah. It does. It goes so quick now, doesn't it? Especially for those riders that jump into cyclocross now in the winter and in different parts of the world. So it's the off season gets shorter and shorter, and we did miss the Aussie races the last couple of seasons as well. So it's nice to have them back. If you're just joining us, your 2 leaders are Jambal Jam's Saim Bayer of Terengganu Polygon on the front, national champion of Mongolia. If you've been with us throughout the week, you'll know who he is by now. And also this rider here on the back, Masaki Yamamoto, the national champion of Japan, on the attack yesterday. 44 seconds with 26 kilometres to go. They're holding them. They know what a danger this man on the front is. To let him get a minute and a half inside 20k to go. Both of these riders, great time trialists, and the sort of riders that could spring a surprise on you if you give them too much of an advantage, and that's what they're trying to do today. It's not completely flat by any means, this run-in, is it? It really sort of rocks and rolls. We've got a few little climbs along the route.
It really does, and the finish as well. From 150 metres to go, it starts to level off and flatten off, but before that, from around 300, 350 to go, it's quite a bit of a drag actually. It's going to be a tough one for those big sprinters. It opens up the floodgates for those other riders, the riders like George Jackson from Bolton Equities Black Spoke. He's one to watch, my pick I think for today. Not an out and out big bunch sprinter, he says it himself, but on a tougher finish, it suits him really well. It's going to be, if someone hits it really hard with a good lead out like Bolton Equities Black Spoke, they can really put the hammer down And that would then make those big sprinters struggle.
Is it one of those days potentially for that sort of track rider power that's got like a kilo in him, who goes a little bit, even goes a bit longer?
Yeah, a bit longer. Just to open up the sprint early would be hard though, because if you go too soon, you really are going to struggle then and to hold on. That final 150 meters, a lot can happen, so you need to make sure you've got enough, maybe a little bit earlier. But with that drag, you need a teammate to really make it hard, make it difficult for those big sprinters like Saritsa and Decline. There's plenty of chances for a lot of the riders who haven't been able to pick a result up yet. You know, Sasha Vmouse, so close, hasn't picked up that stage victory that's eluded him. But for a sprinter like Bennett, George Jackson, sorry, I think with the likes of Matt Bostock in front of him, Curry Logan, we've seen how good they are. We've seen Luke Mudgway towards the back of the group. If they leave it late, come with numbers in the final 2 kilometres, they really have got a chance at stealing victory.
Back to the peloton. Categorized are on the front. Callum Johnston setting the pace. Is his pace just a little bit too high for this this stage of the race? You would say you want to leave that breakaway out there for just a little bit longer. Don't catch it too early. I think if you bring this break back too early, give it, because this shot that we've got here of the little climbs, the little rises that we've got on the run in towards the finish, there's potentially enough of a rise to give someone the confidence to think, I can jump this and try and pull a cheeky one later on.
It'd be good to see, actually. I want them to bring it back sooner rather than later. Some good racing. And a nice bit of a tailwind all the way to the finish as well. That suits those riders who are brave enough to attack. It's a hard one. There's so many, actually 3 or 4 sprinter teams, Casual Royale riding on the front, and then you look at Green Project Bardiani, you take in Bolton Equities Black Spoke, you know Tudor and Astana are looking after their big sprinters. And even Coritex Alitalia, they have Viviani, Human Powered Health. Maybe even just, why not one of these teams try something else? Put those other teams under difficulty. Try something different. Even Bolton Equities Black Spoke. All for George Jackson, but why not try and send? We know how good Logan Curry is. Under 23 national time trial champion in the past, 4th place at the World Championships in the time trial. If Logan Curry can make a move late on,
he looked good for it yesterday. He looked good for it yesterday, didn't he?
He looked really good. Casual Royale did a small turn, Callum Ferguson. He's sat there, 4th wheel now. And now it's a Quick Kern Farmer who've made their way to the front.
You get a good view down the peloton as it sweeps and rises over the road here. All the teams together out on the course. All of our schools out to cheer the race past. Great that they have all really got into the spirit of Le Tour de Langkawi this year. Have all the schools. So that's what it's all about as well. Is to engage all the youngsters along the side. You can see on to our next one. All proudly waving their Malaysian flags. Our breakaway, that could be kilometres numbered, I think, now for our break with 23k to go. The average speed, 48.5 kilometres an hour we've just had.
Yeah, we weren't messing around today. You could tell how fast they were from the start. It hasn't slowed down.
And you can see
Tudor Pro
and you can see the pressure He's taken right out here. Doesn't want to bring it back too early. Equipo Kern Farmer have come through to the front, but you just saw just a little word to the wise there, and that's the experience, isn't it, of a team and riders that have done this job a lot. They know, given the terrain, given that you can see how this part of the country is lying and sitting, that if you do bring this back too soon, it then is going to be chaos and mayhem all the way yet again, especially given how this stage has been ridden.
It's brilliant seeing the experience of reading the race and then tactically. Kind of just want them to bring it back though. I want a really exciting end to the finish. Hats off, they know what they're doing, which is great. This is exactly what they should do. They need to just hold off catching these two. But I kind of hope they just would bring them back. It's going to be an exciting end to the race. Trying to control a lot of people wanting to attack as well.
Astana swing out. You can see Basso is up there. Leonardo Basso up towards the front. Shooter Pro. They've given Simon Pello a day off from controlling things today, from the look of it. We're about to hit 20 kilometers to go. That is our next milestone, really, that we tick off. The gaps just edged back up, just nudged a few more seconds towards 40 seconds here for Jambalan Sambaye of Terangani Polygon and Masaki Yamamoto of Japan. So Equipo Kern Farmer. Every time our Equipo Kern Farmer rider comes through to the front, it chops a chunk out of the lead of our leaders. Again, that just shows the experience of being able to just sit and hold it and just calculate. I mean, you must just be constantly just thinking and calculating and trying to work out how, especially at this stage where you're running in towards the sprint. There must be so much calculation that you're doing at that point.
Yeah, constantly trying to read the race, figure out how much energy you need to put in, how much time you need to bring back. You know it's easily brought back now though. How fast the seconds down. When you start accelerating on the front on these roads that are up and down, take a rest, fresh rider goes to the front, and the gap comes down so quickly. These riders working really well together, but unfortunately this breakaway was always doomed. Only two riders. They would have to do a monumental effort to try and hold this peloton off. Equipo Kern Farmer. They're doing big turns here.
And they've got their fast finishers in there. They're just defending positions. Equipo Kern Farmer. Who would you think they're really going for today in terms of the sprint? I mean, they've got Pablo Castrillo up there in GC. But have they challenged closely to Arvid to climb this week? Would you say close enough that we can kind of understand their thought process behind being the team that are doing the work on the front?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one to try and figure out where they need to go. It is a difficult finish though, with that climb and the drag up to the finish. Let's call it a drag, not a climb. Maybe Carlos Garcia Pena, someone who's got a bit more of a sprint on him, but a difficult one to call. Maybe they are trying something, maybe trying something for a late attack. It is a technical run in again. We have to remind you that 5 corners in the final 4 kilometres. So there's a lot going on. The final right-hand corner come with 700 meters to go. And then it bears the left, drags up to the finish. So there is opportunities through these corners, through these technical aspects for some late attacks. So maybe that's what Equipe Farmer are trying to do, set up something to spoil the sprinters' party.
I mean, looking where they were yesterday, Pablo Castrillo was 30th in the sprint, and Carlos Garcia Pena was 38th in the sprint yesterday. Tudor Pro, on the other hand, Arvid to climb, 2 stage wins for Tudor Pro, points jersey, King of the Mountains jersey, with Simon Pello with 16 kilometres to go and 40 seconds. Now we start to get a slight change in acceleration on the front. Within 6k, you would expect them around 10 kilometres to go, 9 kilometres to go, that they would bring that breakaway back and get it under control. And the speed so far has only been a touch under 50 kilometres an hour. Now we've already 48.5 kilometres an hour, the average speed for today's stage. Masaki Yamamoto and Jambo Jam's Cyan Bayer are 2 attackers. Gutsy move by them, and you can see for them as well, they've upped the gears, they've upped the gas on this penultimate stage of Tour de Langkawi here in Malaysia. From Muar to Seremban 2, just 123.8 kilometres today, but it has been lightningly quick from the gun. It has never let up, and this man here, national champion of Mongolia, has been largely responsible for how aggressive this stage has been today. 30 seconds with 15 kilometres to go. It would be a tall order, is the understatement of the year, for them to try and stay away to the finish. But you can see from their pressure and the pressure on the peloton behind, they're definitely making them work for it.
You can really tell the difference in that peloton. I expect the gap to come down. The next time check we have, that will come down so quickly now. Look how lined out this peloton is. The pressure from Tudor Pro Cycling has gone on at the front. Our last view at the front of the peloton, you could see small splits happening here and there. And now these two, they've turned around, they've spotted, they've seen the peloton coming. Fortunately, they know their fate now.
And for Jambo Jam, Cyan Bayer, we expect him to just take a little micro rest and get himself back up there for the bunch sprint. Likes a bunch sprint as the Terengganu Polygon rider. So we'll see ultimately where he ends up at the end of today's stage. But it has been another gutsy move by both of these riders. It is almost game over for them, but they are pressing on with this, as you can imagine. Sure, if the camera goes past them and turns around, the peloton are not going to be far away from them now in terms of sweeping them up. It's all about that timing. get them too early, and all of a sudden everyone is motivated to attack, and then you have to do the job all over again, get them at the right time, and then it is just about building into that lead out, which is all planned, all calculated, of who needs to be where and when. And it is an art, the lead out, not being on the front too early, not using up too many of your riders too early when you need them ultimately for that finishing sprint. Peloton not far away from these two if the gap is at 12 seconds. But what a day, and hats off to both of these riders, but I think he's been the man of the race for me so far. Jam signed by Air. He's so entertaining, and I'm sure he'll be on the attack tomorrow as well. Phenomenal ride so far. Masaki Yamamoto, a national champion of Japan, the prestige of that jersey, especially in the Tour de Langkawi. What a history in Langkawi, the Japanese riders. With 12k to go. They're making them work for the last few seconds here.
Yeah, two leaders committed still, even when if you can see the peloton coming behind you. They're not giving up.
And there they are. They're almost with them. Equipo Kern Farmer are the team on the front. Euskadi. We were told, unfortunately, Carlos Conel Blanco having to retire from the race after crashing at that intermediate sprint point. Right till you're caught. They've got to pass them. That's the rule, isn't it, when you're in a breakaway? Those pink jerseys of Simon Carr all sat in front of him. And for Simon Carr and EF, after that mountain stage on stage 5, it's just control, isn't it, for defending that leader's jersey on flat days.
And actually, most of the time they haven't had to do too much. The sprinter teams have taken the responsibility. So they've just been able to follow. If there is a dangerous breakaway, they've tried to make sure that no one was there or bring a break back, but they've done everything they needed to do. They needed to make sure they were in the right place for Genting Highlands. They delivered on that day. Pressure was on them, and they've been able to then sit back a bit, relax, and allow the sprinter teams a nice handshake, fist pump. Good day out for Sambayer and Yamamoto. It's all back together. Perfect timing, you said. If you want to pick them up, collect them, 11 or 10 kilometres to go. And that's exactly what they've done.
Equipo Kern Farmer take over on the front. For them, Carlos Garcia Piana better deliver after the team have done the work for him. Yeah, it gives a little view of what an absolutely stunning country Malaysia is. Come and visit. It's a beautiful part of the world. The history, the food, the culture, the bike racing. Tour de Langkawi. It's a great race. It's a historic race here on the Asia Tour. It's the the premium stage race here on the Asia Tour. 27th edition of this race. If you are just jumping into our coverage today, welcome aboard. 123.8 kilometres from Muar to Seremban 2, and it is all together ready for a bunch sprint. Our fast men looking to deliver another stage victory. The pink jerseys of our overall leader Simon Carr of the Education Easy Post. He leads his teammate Alexander Cepeda by 49 seconds. Pablo Castrillo third at 58 seconds for the Equipo Kern Farmer Man. Watch out for the likes of Sasha Vimas of Human Powered Health, Gleb Sarista of Astana, of a decline of Tudor Pro Cycling, Daniel Babor of Caja Rural. Could it be a George Jackson sprint from Bolton Equities Black Spoke? It might be one that suits him today. Of a decline, the only rider in this race who has won 2 stages so far. And Yamamoto not done without a fight here, going again.
Yeah, another brave attack from Yamamoto. A day, or 40 kilometres in the breakaway isn't enough. He wanted more time out front. Maybe going after that most combative prize of the day. He's got to do something special to try and take it off Sion Bayer. But he's trying. 9k to go.
And the teams on the front, just when someone goes with this, it's a really gutsy move. I mean, this is the epitome of no guts, no glory. With 8 kilometres to go, and you've been in the breakaway, you get caught and you go again. That's the gutsy move by the national champion of Japan. Just take us through that run into the finish one more time, John, and how you think they need to approach this one.
So we have pretty much 5 corners in the final 4 kilometres. We have a right-hander just at 4k to go. And then another right-hander with 3 kilometres to go. These are all 90-degree, quite open, wide ones. Nothing too tight or technical, so that should be quite good. And then we have a left-hander with 2k to go. Then another left-hander with 1.5k to go, and that opens up to a big road. And then the final right-hander is 700 meters to go. But this is where the road then starts to kick up and drag all the way to the finish. So the key point is positioning. With that left-hander with 1.5k to go, you've got around 800 meters then to find and get into position before the final right-hander. If you can come through there with 2 or 3 riders in front of your sprinter, that is the ideal way to ride it. When you can do that, you can then deliver your riders as much as possible. That drag is going to be key. If you're at the front and your sprinter is on the wheel, it'll stretch out that peloton massively. As you can see now, that's the 4k to go is the right-hander, another right-hander, left-hander. So from that, with a k and a half to go, where we join that big main road, that is where it's keen. You get under the Flamme Rouge, 1 kilometre to go. Then you enter that right-hander, and then that starts to drag to the left. So if you get to the left-hand side of the road, shortest way round, and on a drag, that then stretches that peloton out, and you just build and build until 150 meters to go. We still slightly go uphill, and then it levels off for the final 150 meters, and that is where you can really deliver your sprinter, launch them at that point. But
so in your lead out, are you looking to try and, as the lead out rider, as we bend up round to the left, is to just almost have your lead out rider moving out so that your sprinter can come up on the left?
Yeah, the key point would be to move to the right hand side just enough to let one rider through, and you can see it every once in a while. The best teams do it. They let their sprinter through and then just slowly close the door as if they're going to go back on the wheel, and that means the sprinter behind has to go out and round on the right hand side. So you're just trying to make those little bits of, make it a little bit more difficult for your rivals behind. In a fair way, you're completely allowed to do that, but the best lead-out riders have that knack of just getting in the way enough.
It's almost closing the door, but not closing the door.
Not closing the door, but even if you don't close it, it's just a bit of, if a sprinter in that split second feels that they're going to close the door, it might be a tiny bit of freewheeling, but that's a little bit of momentum. That's half a k an hour they lose, and that could make the massive difference to them having to close the gap then at the end.
Masaki Yamamoto, with his unique riding position that he's got on his bike. 5k to go for the national champion of Japan. He's still holding a good gap here off a charging peloton. It's impressive when you look at this, how much he's holding them off here. This is a big move by Yamamoto.
Really impressive. Teams are going to come to the front now. More and more teams, they need to position their sprinters. We're getting close to that right-hander with 4 kilometers to go. This is it now. Now we begin the technical turns all the way into the finish. Slight drag here after this right-hander as well.
And you can see just sweeping. Then we have to kick across. We're going to cross to the left. So we've got a little shimmy through here. And it's Simon Pello on the front for Tudor Pro Cycling. So Masaki Yamamoto is making Tudor Pro Cycling work for this one. And it's Corratec Sella Italia that are looking to just try and profit from this small rise. As we said, it's not flat running towards the finish. It's this Konishev that's going here for Corratec Sella Italia, and Pello is just defending for Tudor Pro here to get on, to make sure he's there. It looks under his armpit. You've got to defend at this point as well. Corratec are using these rises, as you've said, they're using them perfectly.
Interesting. Is Pello going to contribute work with them now? His other teammates are going to have to bring him back.
Defend. So it's almost defence but win it,
yeah,
and have that second backup plan if Corratec rider manages to take it. But it's Bolton Equities Black Spoke that are on the front here, and look at the power, look at the lead out, and they're splitting this one on the right of your picture as you look at it, and our Hen Zhang rider just swings out. Bolton Equities Black Spoke are throwing everything in this. They know that George Jackson could suit this finish, and look at the New Zealanders that are all lined out. They bring it back together. It's that Mudgeway that's doing the job on the front here for Bolton Equities. Right-hander.
We're now through 3 kilometers to go. It's around 2.8k to go at this point. There you go, there's the sign, 3k to go. Have they gone this a bit too early? If they've got the legs, they've been sat back for a while, and it is Mudgeway who's doing it first. Jackson a bit further back.
Cepeda in there, getting in on the mix here for EF. Looks like he fancies a bit of a run at the sprint. So looking down the group, you got Arvid Decline is there, Gleb Surista is right there, Bolton Equities Black Spoke on the front.
Take the slip road to the left now.
Got one of the Malaysian national team in there.
Already, they've lost 2 riders. They've lost 2 riders. It's still not even at 2 kilometers to go yet.
Logan Curry takes over on the front for Bolton Equities Black Spoke. Tudor have got everyone in front of the orange jersey of Arvid de Climb. Adam de Vos is there for Human Powered Health. Gijs van Herke is there right in front of Sasha Vimas. Can they lead out for Vimas? He's got close so many times in this, but look at the speed that they are carrying down through here to Kedigo, and this is where it will start to get technical. We've got a right little kink and then a sweeping left. DeVos swings out for Human Powered Health. Big sweeping left-hander, which will take them through the Flamme Rouge, and 1 kilometer to go. It's still Bolton Equities Black Spoke on the front. It's technical enough that they could deliver Jackson perfectly here.
This is the key point now. If a team comes up late, this is where you need to be in position. Look how wide the road is. Plenty of time to move up, plenty of space to move up. You commit one rider like Caja Royale can do. They did it for Babor's stage victory. If they come late into this right-hander, it's exactly what you need to do. And now, this is the key point.
And we're seeing the arrival. Here comes the green and white of the big man. Thomas Barter now comes through towards the front. Has a look back to see where Babor is. Keeps the pressure high. Babor out of the saddle as he tries to get into position. Zanoncello coming through. 500 meters now to go towards the line. Still Caherurao have the front. Here come Green Project Bardiani. Could this be the perfect finish for Zanoncello to finally get the sprint? Hand up. Here come Tudor Pro. Ziad with Arvid Decline right on the wheel. Saritza poised and ready. The final lead out. Here goes Arvid Decline and Saritza. Saritza's right on the wheel. Vimas is there. Arvid Decline. Saritza punches a hole through the gap there. It's going to be between Decline. Decline throws the bike at the line. Saritza Vimas on the left. Feels like he's got it for human powered health all across the road. Sasha Vimas delivers on the penultimate day. The three, arguably the three of the strongest sprinters in this race. It came down to the three of them and Sasha Vimas takes it.
It looked like he's the first to celebrate, and the riders almost know when you go across the line. You've been in that situation so many times, you can almost just feel where the finish line is. We'll wait for confirmation, but Decline opened up. Not too difficult, that drag. They came with so much speed that they flew up it, but it was so much happened in that final 100 meters. Vimas had time to come round. Saritza was the same. He had a little bit of a blockage. Tudor Pro Cycling with Mikael Zilard, he just closed the door a little bit, let him out exactly what we were talking about. And that gave Vimas maybe that fast run on the right-hand side.
He just had that momentum around the outside, didn't he?
And that final 100 meters, he finally had his chance to open up and sprint. He was free to open up his sprint there.
And that's what you want to see when someone's been so consistent, second, third, you know, they're second again, to finally get that win is really, you know, it's a good reward. And he's doing it as well with, we saw De Vos there, he had to pull out early. He's doing it with Gijs van Hooker, who's just bringing him up. So he's winning this out of surfing around everybody else, which is again another skill. Hot day for the riders.
Go and you delayed it for like 10 seconds, then you went. That was us yelling, go. Yeah.
And this is the famous hose pipes from the fire service here in Malaysia.
Bolton Equity straight away having a bit of a debrief there, saying it was us shouting to go. He waited 10 seconds apparently, but
I think we're going to go hear from Sasha.
Sasha, you have sprinted a lot before you could finally win. How did you win?
Yes, I'm really happy about today. You see, never give up. Today worked everything in a perfect situation. I'm really proud about the team. I'm really happy also.
The slightly uphill finish, did that work into your advantage?
Yes, like yesterday was a really fast one, 72 kilometers per hour. And today was the uphill with wind on the head. So I couldn't make the difference on the end, so really good.
What was your tactic for beating Arvid Decline?
I want to choose his wheel, but it was really difficult. The Astana guy had that wheel, but it was not bad because it was really hard wind. And then I took the wheel of the slipstream of Arvid, and then on the end, the last 10 meters, I couldn't take a finish jump.
Towards the end of the season, with your team possibly closing, how important is it for you to win here today?
Yeah, after a really bad year with a lot of healthy problems, it means a lot for me, this victory. Also for the team, they are all friends for me, also teammates without the contract. So any team, if you want to find a new lead out, you can find in our team.
Proficiat.
Thank you.
Sasha Vimas, yeah, tough times, isn't it? He hasn't announced a contract for next year, but yeah, really tough time for the lads.
Yeah. It's always good to come to a race, though. Forget about all those things that you're worrying about when you get into a race. Bike racing takes over, and to pick up the success like he has, it's brilliant. The team, like he said, all friends, really happy for each other, working as well as they can for each other. Brilliant sprint. And we get that second view.
Take us through this.
You can see decline perfectly there, 200 meters to go. Then it was Syriza on the wheel, then Vimas. But look at that, pretty much in the final 50 meters, how far Vimas is back. 25 meters around, he just pops out. And all on the lunge. Syriza probably taking second.
So he had to leave it. As he said, he was right on the wheel of Syriza. Babor on his outside. The road rises. That's where it opened up for him.
Yeah, and that's where there's a bit of a headwind as well. And it all came in those final 25 meters. Getting that last bit of energy out, all on the lunge. Knew he had it though, celebrated straight away. Didn't need to look left to confirm it. Got that feeling as a sprinter. Brilliant to see. Another winner at Tour de Langkawi.
And I think that I like the way our sprints have gone. It's given, it's opened up, it's the end of the season, and for riders like Sasha who might not have a contract, this is like your last chance saloon in a way. And as he said, he's had lots of health problems this year, and you have to, as you say, put them behind you, focus on the race. You've got the form, you've got the ability. The team have helped you as much as they can, and they shepherded him throughout the day. We saw them in the line. They did as much as they do, as much as they can in terms of there's only so much road, isn't there, when you're trying to lead out, and when Tudor are on the front and when Bolton Equities are on the front, and they're just doing the right thing, bringing him up, dropping him off and letting him do the rest there. There's confirmation of your top 10. Sasha Vimas takes it ahead of Arvid Decline and Gleb Syriza. Matt Bostock getting up there in fourth. Attila Viviani, Raymond Creeder, Youssef Ragigi, Enrico Zanoncello, Michael Zillard, the lead out for Arvid Decline, and then Maris Bogdanovic of Henjiang takes 10th. And your general classification, no change at the top. Simon Carr still leading Alexander Cepeda by 49 seconds. Pablo Castrillo at 58. John Bow Company in fourth. Vadim Pronsky, Paul Double, Adni Van Engelen, Jon Aguirre, Jochen Mergelde, and Harold Martin Lopez, your top 10 overall. So Simon Carr just gets safely through tomorrow. Arvid Decline at the top of the leaderboard in the points classification with 63 points. Sasha Vimas now moves up to second at 48 points. Gleb Syriza in third at 43. Zanoncello, Jackson, Babok on 40. Sayan Bayer, Van Hoeke and Viviani, your top 10. And your King of the Mountains, Simon Pello, that classification sewn up on stage 5 on the Genting Highlands. No more King of the Mountains points. It is the Swiss man from Tudor Pro Cycling, and just has to get safely through the final day, and he will be crowned the King of the Mountains of La Tour de Langkawi, leading Simon Carr and Pablo Castrillo. And the white jersey, the best Asian rider, it's still Vadim Pronsky at the top. His lead over Jambalan, Jambojam Sambayer, 204. Aria Falson Thabath of Roy, the Rujai online insurance team, and a commanding lead in that. But what can you say about Jambojam Sayan Bayer, one of the most exciting riders of the race, for that white jersey, still on the shoulders of Vadim Pronsky. And here we have it, the lead out there. There's Michael Zillard handing over to Arvid Decline, Syriza. Vimas, it just opens up. The doors were cast wide. Vimas marched through for the stage victory for human-powered health. And there's your photo. Look at that.
That was a close one. Vimas timed it to perfection.
And that's what we say always practice your throw to the line.
Yeah. Perfect lunge.
Nicely done. There's your photo finish.
Who you want to be see? Okay. Simon Ka and Arvid. Alright, so 3 only, okay? Alright, noted.
So, Sasha Vimas in the tent. Everyone just getting ready for the podium presentation. We will bid you farewell here. Join us for stage 8 tomorrow. We go from Setia Alam to Kuala Lumpur. 156.5 kilometres is tomorrow's 8th and final stage. Should be another one for the fast men. We will hand you over to Kiki down at the podium to take you through the presentation. From Martin McDonald to John Mould, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Okey, dan seterusnya adalah persembahan basking kumpulan daripada di Penganan. Dan kumpulan ini daripada Kuala Pilah. Mari kita sama saksikan.
Okey, dan pada itu siapa yang ada dekat sini boleh kunjungi booth Pace, belilah merchandise dekat booth Pace. Kita ada t-shirt, lanyard, jackets dan juga booth Petronas untuk dapatkan barang-barang produk Petronas. Thank you.
Simon, king of the mountain, but not many hills to contest today, neither tomorrow. What was your task during this stage?
Yeah, still today was a mountain top finish with the last 200 meters at 6%. But yeah, today my task was really to keep calm and to try to be a good captain to the guys, because it was really dangerous stage, really short stage with a tailwind all the way. So we have to really to check out that not a too strong break will go away, and then I think we did such a good job. And then we tried to. I went on the attack there on the last small hill. I was expecting Michael Valgren to go there. Thanks God it was not him, because because I'm not sure I could have followed him. But yeah, I went on the attack to cover that moment, and then I tried to help as much as possible Arvid for the last sprint. And yeah, it was a close game in the end, but another second place stage.
Yeah, it looked like a perfect finish for Arvid. What was missing for the win?
No, I didn't spoke with him. I felt really bad after the finish line. He was just lying there on the grass, like I think he had overheated the engine. So yeah, it was another really hot day today. So some struggle for everybody. But yeah, I think it was really a really close call. And yeah, I'm not sure. I will have to speak with him.
One day to go, and you'll be able to celebrate a nice Tour de LANGKAWI for yourself and your team.
Yeah, it's a super nice week for us. I mean, we had a good expectation coming here, and then it's really nice to be to answer on the terrain, on the road. So yeah, we are enjoying the week here in Malaysia.
Merci.
Thank you.
Hadirin dihormati sekalian, ladies and gentlemen, normally our prize giving ceremony will take about approximately between 10 to 15 minutes to get the official results out. So we seek your cooperation to be a bit of patient so we can get back to you on time.
Arvid, we know that sprinters don't like to come second. What made you second today and not first?
I think I did a good sprint. Maybe I went a little too early, but yeah, at the end I just exploded and it was hot, and it is what it is. Like, I just got beaten.
Is it because the race was super fast and your team had to work a lot to chase everyone, the attackers and then the late attackers?
Yeah, but it's all a part of our jobs. Like, yeah, we're here to win races and we take responsibility. And yeah, I won't hide after excuses like this. It's just I wasn't fast enough today, and yeah, it is what it is.
And do you know well the winner, who is not your former teammate but from your former team?
Yeah. I know him because he's from Belgium, so I raced a lot against him already. And I know he's fast on days like this, so yeah, it's like if you get beaten like this, yeah, I'm okay with it.
One stage to go. How do you see it?
We will see how tomorrow will develop, but still looking forward to sprint another time.
Dank je wel.
Thank you.
Masuk
1 kilometer. Okey, dah sampai. Mereka sedang bersiap sedia, tuan-tuan dan puan sekalian. Make some noise, nombor 2.
Let's see who's gonna finish, cross the finish line. Is it Arvid? Is it Simon? Yang pasti saingan sengit di antara dua penyarung jersey kita.
the leading jersey and the sprint jersey.
Yang berbahagia Dato' Ahmad Syafawi Ismail, pengerusi jawatan kuasa pengelola LTDL 2023, bagi menjemput dan mengiringi Yang Berhormat Dato' Muhammad Zafir Ibrahim, Setiausaha Kerajaan Negeri Sembilan, dan Exco Pembangunan Belia Sukan Negeri Sembilan, Yang Berhormat Tuan Haji Mustafa Nago, untuk upacara penyampaian. Yang pertama adalah untuk stage winner terlebih dahulu.
Okay, we are going to give away the prizes for the 7th stage of PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023, the 27th edition, right now. And for that, we would like to welcome our VVIPs to be up on stage to give away the prizes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are all set and we are ready. Let's call upon the rider from Astana, Kazakhstan team, Gleb Syriza.
Gleb Syriza dari Astana, Kazakhstan team.
Congratulations, Gleb. Yesterday you got there, and then today, please smile, please smile. He wants to win this overall so much. Gleb Syriza, 23 years old rider from Kazakhstan.
Baiklah, tempat yang kedua dari Tudo Pro Cycling Team. Tuan-tuan dan puan sekalian,
Arvid Decline.
Arvid Decline.
Nampaknya nama-nama yang sama yang memenangi peringkat ke-6 semalam, Hafizal. We have the same winners. This is exactly the repeat of the 1st and 6th stage. Congratulations to Arvid from Tudo Pro Cycling Team for 2nd place for the 6th stage PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023.
Dan juara peringkat yang ke-7 dari pasukan Human Power Health,
Sasha Wimas.
Sasha Wimas.
Congratulations to Sasha Wimas. He's been up on the podium many times, but this time he got the first. He is the champion for the 6th stage, for the 7th stage, PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023. Here you are, ladies and gentlemen, our winners for the 7th stage, PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023. Gleb Syriza, Arvid Decline, and Sasha Wimas. Thank you.
Baiklah, majlis ucapkan ribuan terima kasih. Seterusnya, untuk kategori Most Combative Rider, kami sangat berbesar hati di atas tajan oleh Bubble O2 penerima anugerah Brand Literate 2023 bagi kategori jenama air mineral terbaik. Bubble O2 bukan sekadar air mineral biasa, ia adalah satu-satunya air mineral beroksigen semula jadi di Malaysia. Untuk itu, majlis menjemput Yang Berurusan Encik Arifin Ghani, Timbalan Ketua Pengarah Strategik MSN, bagi menjemput dan mengiringi Yang Berurusan Cik Ain Azizah Arifin, Pengarah Urusan dan Ketua Pegawai Eksekutif Bubble O2.
Bubble O2, our sponsors, fueling our most combative rider. And for that, let's invite the most combative rider for the 7th stage, PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023. We have Masaki Yamamoto.
Dan kita ucapkan tahniah kepada pemenang The Most Combative Rider,
daripada
Masaki Yamamoto.
Daripada pasukan JCL Team Okyo. Congratulations again to Masaki Yamamoto.
Terima kasih Bubble O2 kerana terus menjadi sebahagian daripada penaja ataupun sebahagian daripada keluarga PETRONAS LANGKAWI tahun ini. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, Bubbles O2. Baik, Majlis ucapkan terima kasih kepada yang berusaha Cik Ain Aziz Arifin mengarah urusan Ketua Pegawai Eksekutif Bubble O2.
And next, we're gonna have the Best Asian Rider jersey to be given away.
Jersey putih dibawakan oleh Kerajaan Negeri Terengganu. Best
Land
Asian
of the
Rider.
Cyclist.
Untuk itu, Majlis menyebut Yang Berusaha Encik Irwan Arif Abdul Rahman, Lembaga Pengurus Majlis Sukan Negara, bagi menjemput dan mengiringi Yang Berhormat Muhammad Fadli Rahmi Zulkifli, Timbalan Exco Kerajaan Negeri Terengganu, untuk menyempurnakan penyarungan jersey putih pelumba terbaik Asia.
Now we're gonna see who's gonna grab the white jersey. White jersey brought to you by the beautiful state of Terengganu, land of the cyclists. Thank you so much to the state of Terengganu in sponsoring 2 stages for the 27th edition PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023. Let's call the name right now from Astana, Kazakhstan team, Vadim Pronsky.
Vadim Pronsky dari Astana, Kazakhstan team untuk pelumba terbaik Asia, jersey putih.
Looks like Vadim Pronsky retaining his jersey from the previous stage. Up on the podium, ladies and gentlemen, the best Asian rider for the 7th stage, Vadim Pronsky from Astana, Kazakhstan team.
Majlis mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Yang Berhormat Muhammad Fadli Rahmi Zulkifli, Timbalan Exco Kerajaan Negeri Terengganu, dan juga Yang Berusaha Encik Irwan Arif.
Alright, and next we're gonna have to see who's gonna get the polka dot jersey.
Jersey
By
polka
Tourism
dot
Malaysia.
yang dibawakan oleh Tourism Malaysia Raja Bukit. Majlis dengan sukacitanya menjemput Yang Berbahagia Datuk Haji Sabudin bin Haji Sani, Pengarah Majlis Sukan Negeri Sembilan, bagi mengiringi Yang Berusaha Encik Monaharan Perasami, Pengarah Kanan Bahagian Promosi Antarabangsa Asia Afrika Tourism Malaysia.
Okay, let's see who is the rider will be receiving the polka dot jersey brought to you by Tourism Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for this rider from Tudor Pro Cycling Team, Simon Pelot.
Dari Tudor Pro Cycling Team.
Simon Pelot looking very comfortable wearing this polka dot jersey. I think from the 3rd stage he's been wearing this jersey. And tomorrow there's only going to be one more stage. Let's see whether he'll manage to keep this jersey with him. Again, this polka dot jersey goes to Simon. One happy rider here right now. Baiklah, ada yang dihormati sekalian, our polka dot jersey holder as of the 7th stage from Tudor Pro Cycling Team, Simon Pelot. Congratulations and thank you.
Majlis saya terima kasih kepada tamu-tamu kehormat yang telah memperkenalkan upacara penyaluran jersey sebentar tadi. Berikutnya kita akan beralih ke jersey orange yang dibawakan oleh Kementerian Belia dan Sukan untuk Raja Pejut. Untuk itu, majlis dengan sukacitanya menjemput Yang Berbahagia Dr. Vela Pandian, anak lelaki Pondosami, Ketua Pegawai Eksekutif Institut Penyelidikan Pembangunan Belia Malaysia, bagi menjemput dan mengiringi Yang Berbahagia Tuan Haji Muhammad Haswandi bin Haji Ahmad, Ketua Pengarah Institut Pembangunan dan Pencemerlangan Kepimpinan Aileen untuk menyempurnakan penyalongan jersey orange Raja Pecut.
Alright, next we're going to have the orange jersey powered to you by KBS, and let's welcome this rider up on stage right now without wasting any more time from Tudor Pro Cycling Team, Arvid Decline. Arvid has been wearing this jersey also for a few stages. Looking very confident, finishing this round of tour in Malaysia with the orange jersey.
Mr. Orange.
Warna dia pun dah orange. Our sprint jersey brought to you by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Big smile from Arvid, and let's take your place on the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, from Tudor Pro Cycling Team, Arvid Decline.
You're simply the best.
Thank you, congratulations Arvid.
Terima kasih Dr. Bella Pandia dan juga bahagian Tuan Haji Muhammad Swandi.
Dan seterusnya kita akan menyaksikan jersey.
Pendahulu keseluruhan setakat stage yang ke-7 Muar Seremban. Untuk itu majlis dengan sukacitanya menjemput yang berusaha Encik M. Zaki Datuk Haji Mahat, Pengurus Besar PETRONAS Selatan, bagi menjemput dan mengiringi Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Haji Aminuddin Harun, Menteri Besar Negeri Sembilan, bersama dengan Yang Berhormat Datuk Muhammad Zafir Ibrahim, Setiausaha Kerajaan Negeri Sembilan, dan Yang Berhormat Tuan Haji Mustafa Nago, Esko Pembangunan Belia Sukan Negeri Sembilan.
Alright, we're going to have the Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri, the Chief Minister of Negeri Sembilan, to give away or hand over the green jersey brought to you by PETRONAS, our title sponsor. Thank you so much, PETRONAS, for sponsoring our green jersey, the GC jersey. And without wasting any more time, let's invite this rider up on stage from EF Education Easy Post, Simon Carr. Simon Carr has been our leader ever since the Queen stage in Genting Highland. One of the two world team that participating in this 27th edition of PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023. Looking good in the PETRONAS green. We are green with envy. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the GC holder as of the 7th stage, PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023, Simon Carr from EF Education Easy Post. Okay, we invite all the jersey holders to be up on the podium together with Simon Carr. We have Arvid, we have Simon Pelong, and we have the white jersey holder, Vadim Pronsky. Ladies and gentlemen, your jersey holders as of the 7th stage, PETRONAS LANGKAWI 2023. Once again, we have Simon Carr from EF Education, Vadim Pronsky, the best Asian rider, Arvid Decline, best sprinter, and Simon Pelong, the best climber.
Baik, dijemput tetamu-tamu terhormat untuk sesi bergambar bersama dengan para pemenang.
pasukan, bahu sepasukan, berjuang tanpa batasan, berjuang tanpa batasan, tewaskan setiap lawan, tewaskan setiap.
Baiklah tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, this is Negeri Sembilan.
Thank you so much to the state government of Negeri Sembilan for having us, family besar LTDL.
Dan sebagai tanda terima kasih, majlis dengan sukacitanya menjemput yang berbahagia Dato' Ahmad Syafiq Ismail, Pengurusi Jawatankuasa Pengelola LTDL 2023, bagi menyampaikan cerita tanda kenang-kenangan kepada Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Haji Aminuddin Harun, Menteri Besar Negeri Sembilan, dan juga Yang Berhormat Datuk Muhammad Zafir Ibrahim, Setiausaha Kerajaan Negeri Sembilan, atas komitmen dan kerjasama yang diberikan untuk menyambut rombongan keluarga LTDL untuk peringkat yang ke-7. Jadi sekali lagi Negeri Sembilan awesome. Negeri Sembilan, terima kasih, terima kasih, terima kasih.
Baiklah, terima kasih. Thank you so much to each and every one of you, especially to our guests of honor, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri, the Chief Minister of Negeri Sembilan, for gracing the event, giving away the jerseys and the prizes to our riders, and hosting the 7th stage PETRONAS Betul Langkawi 2023. Terima kasih Yang Amat Berhormat.
Di sini waktunya dunia kita